Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 55 Live podcast here in conjunction with the WZWA Network. I am the host with the most here tonight in Perth, Western Australia, Karlifornia Infirri, and I have a very, very special guest here tonight. As many of you may know, I've been a member of Russo's brand since Pyro and Ballyhoo. I've been a part of it for many years now, and somebody who's quite a prevalent figure in Russo's brand is the one and only Bin Hamin. And there might be some people that watch this show who might not know who Bin Hamin is, but I'm telling you right now, anytime I've wanted to articulate the way that I feel about a certain aspect of the wrestling business as a mark, I haven't been able to put the words together correctly because I am a mark and I've never been in the business. But there's a guy, his name's Bin Hamin, and every time he says something about the wrestling business, I'm like, that's exactly the way that I wanted to say it. I'm bringing him on right now, the one and only Bin Hamin.
Y'all, 55 Live. It's for greatness we strive, and we don't talk any jive because we try to stay alive here. Down under, it's Hacker Hamin Media Group, Russo brand, Overstrong, Karlifornia Infirri, Infidel, Inferi us all because we're coming to take this thing to the ground. Y'all.
That is the best response I've had to the intro ever.
Good stuff, man. Glad to be here with you, dude. This UK and Aussie and New Zealand contingent has really been some of the biggest growth numbers we've seen at Russo brand and Hamin Media Group. So I just want to say thank you and shout out to everybody down there, man, whether it's the conspiracy side, the hardcore wrestling side, the independent wrestling side. My boots come from SteveTheShoeman.com, an Australian bootmaker, and a lot of NXT and AEW peoples do as well. Australia, man, really holding it down for the wrestling world, becoming a cornerstone, and they need to have some positive light shine on them for all the hardcore fans they got down there. So thanks a lot to all you guys.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure a lot of people across the globe are aware of how many wrestling companies there actually are in Australia, and there's a lot going on over here. There's now we're infiltrating the WWE and NXT and it's been crazy for me. Like I don't know what his wrestling name is now. Shane Thorne, I guess he's in Redemption. I did backyard wrestling with him when I was a teenager. So like to me, it's crazy to know that someone I did wrestling with when I was a kid is now on Monday Night Raw. So, we're all finally starting to get there. Beforehand, everyone was like, oh, the only Aussie wrestler that ever existed was Nathan Jones. Well, no. No,
and the women have done amazing things out of Australia as well. That they've almost taken it to the next level to shine the light on them. And sometimes it just takes that underground a little while to build up, man. And I got to say, I know Zoran Timuric down there is was a big independent promoter, and he had booked a lot of guys from OVW that I know, from Nick Dinsmore to my guy Muhammad Ali Vaez, and a lot of people got a chance to go be international stars before they may have even been on the big scene, you know what I mean, to be able to warrant that. So Australia definitely has its pulse on the underground of wrestling, and sometimes what is and what isn't my favorite stuff, but that's fine, man. It's Baskin Robbins 31 flavors, and you can like what you like. If you don't have Baskin Robbins in Australia, that's ice cream.
We do actually. There's not many things from over there that we do have, but we only just started getting 7-Eleven in the last few years. We still don't have Starbucks in my city, but they do over east. It's weird.
Well, keep it with 7-Eleven. You don't want 9-11. We don't want to export that to you.
No. And Ben, I want to say this show that I kind of crafted was really about, how I feel about your opinions and how I feel like every time you say something, I agree with it. And every time it always makes perfect sense. And this is called,
well, that's good, because sometimes it doesn't to me. I think so. I'm glad it's good. I'm glad it's translating, man, across all borders. Thank you. That's very kind.
It totally does. And I want to call this, Bin Hamin saves the wrestling business. No pressure. But I've got a bunch of topics, just dot points. I haven't got any actual questions, but I thought we could make a discussion of it, but mainly hearing what you've got to say about it. And it's about kind of like where the WWE went wrong. And as we know, the WWE, when they're not doing well, no one else is doing well. And I think first and foremost, the most important dot point to begin with is creative. And just for a little beginning of this section, I would like to say, creative in wrestling from 60s, 70s, 80s there was always a booker. There was never television writers, but it got to a point where there needed to be television writers.
Mm-hmm.
And that was incredibly successful at that point in time in the late 90s. But something went wrong somewhere. Somewhere along the line, we went wrong and it was no longer working. So, Ben, I want to ask you, where do you think it first went wrong? And what is wrong with it today? And what can be done to fix it?
Well, to the victor of the war go the spoils, right? And they kind of got spoiled after we ended the Monday Night Wars. And even at the end of the Monday Night Wars, WCW, their creative was going down as well. And ECW's dead. So what do? They try and create an in-house war where we know that there are no real stakes. So now we're just watching our stars in a phony storyline kind of mail it in instead of really taking pride in their brand, because everything's under WWE, no matter what they call it, with the reboot of ECW or what have you, right? And we're getting terrible things like the Zombie and Mike Knox, and is a big push. Not that Mike Knox is bad by any means. I don't want to down him, but I'm just thinking of that time of who they're trying to force on us, and that's right when I'm leaving Chicago, 2005, 2006-ish, to go to OVW to study. So, that was Ryback, Cody Rhodes, Sean Spears, the Spirit Squad. A lot of those guys when I was there who was on top, and CM Punk and whatnot. So it was really that class of just terrible creative from WWE where they started mailing it in, where it was a Steph and Triple H Authority promo for 2 years. We got that 25-minute opening because they won. They don't have any pressure to do any better than what it is. They think they're over because of the height of the Attitude Era, and they're just trying to coast on that instead of actually staying fresh, adapting, getting things over, creating new stars, and creating stars that are bigger than WWE. They don't want that because they can't control those egos. So they make a pact with themselves that no one will be a bigger star than the Fed itself. John Cena, probably your last one to make it out of that. But, people would even say, the classic Cena match and the years we sat through that of "You can't see me, here comes the FU" or the AA. And, you could he mailed it in during that time. And it's not like he didn't need to do anything. But then when he needs to show and prove that he's a OVW Rip Rogers guy, and he has a great program with Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, really inspirational stuff where you're like, this guy is the best in the biz, where, The Rock might come out and call out things for what they are, wearing Fruity Pebbles, trying to appeal to 6-year-olds. When your main demo of ticket buyers are 35 to 40 or what have you, but they got kids and they want to share that experience. So we just got caught in a really trap. And the other thing too is because Triple H and Steph have kids, because Shane has kids. Now Vince plays grandpa. Well, guess what? Everybody, we go from the corporate tycoon to everybody's doing the family thing because we're doing it. And everybody has to, we're going TV PG because Game's at home watching Teletubbies with the kids, and that's his life now. You know what I mean? So we all had to suffer through this bullshit, terrible creative. And the other part of that is that they said, what's hot right now in TV? Reality TV, no matter what. Let's just hire as many reality show writers as we can who don't know the first thing about wrestling, don't even know the terms heels and baby faces and what a heel actually needs, which is heat. And you can't have a baby face unless you have a heel or a villain, because nobody's going to walk in the room and go, "Hey, I'm the good guy, I'm the baby face." That has everybody in the room go, "You're a fucking asshole. Don't tell me you're a good guy." You got to show, don't tell. In every great movie or great script, you usually start with an inciting incident of showing the heel getting heat. So your audience has a hatred toward that person, and now they're looking for any up-and-coming babyface or, knight in shining armor to ride in and save the day. But you just can't be the knight in shining armor and go, "I'm over. that's pretty much what Triple H and Steph were doing at the beginning of every show for 3 years. And they're denying Daniel Bryan's push because they think he's too small. Meanwhile, the crowd is hijacking their shows until the point when they finally have to swallow the jagged little pill. And then they're even going, yes. And it looks so corporate and phony by that time, dude. It just turns your stomach of anything organic. That if you came through the ECW era and you were a fan and you were a part of the show and you actually had an influence and the performers would be able to react to you and we're all doing something great together, creating an organic piece of art, as opposed to this super scripted, ego driven, put us over, we're royalty of America type feeling. That's what killed the wrestling business in the last 10 to 15 years. And that's why you've gone from an 8.0 rating during Right to Censor with my co-host Stevie Richards at the peak of wrestling, the high point, to a constant 1.6 down now, because they refuse to look in the mirror and point the finger at themselves, even though they know it. They know disaster is at the end of the road, but they would, instead of making a U-turn and going back and getting help, they will press the accelerator and drive right into oblivion. And we're all along for the ride. That's why we have fucking T-Bar in Retribution now. Like these dumbass things, dude, like just intelligence insulting bad level stuff from Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Mark Carano being the cockroach that does all the dirty work, Johnny Ace being the yes man, saying yes to whatever so he can keep his job, you know, and now taking guys that I came up with, Adam Pearce and Pat Buck, and making them on camera dudes who I know have great knowledge, but they'll make them dance. They'll make them dance the same exact way instead of letting them say, what do you guys think about this? Should we be doing this way? And like, no, it's just more the same. Keith Lee's promos. Why would you let Keith Lee speak like that on camera, like William Shatner? Why would you let these people use social media the way they do to undercut your investment? Like, everyone is so delusional and outside of the box, and it's because you're run by 60 and 70-year-olds. I mean, all you need to do is go talk to 60, 70, and 80-year-olds on any topic and see that they need to be treated like they're 5 years old. Like there's a decline. And even that's in our government too, in our system. There needs to be like a wall cut off. 65 years old, you don't get to make any more decisions for society. You have no more power. You're out of touch with everything. And you could say that about the entire wrestling business as well.
And I agree wholeheartedly, and I knew I would. I knew I would. But I mean, I remember when wrestling used to be a thinking man's show.
Sure.
Well, at least a few years there was a thinking man show. If you missed one episode, God forbid, because the next week you did not know what was going on. Vince
the devil's in the details.
Many times that you can go months and tune back in, and you won't feel like you missed a thing, which is. But one thing I wanted to ask, why do you think that they went away from the smaller team of writers? I know that they added SmackDown and they still had little committees for both shows or whatever, but why do you think it grew from that to 30 odd people?
It was them being marks for Hollywood. Vince McMahon, no matter as much of a billionaire as he is, he's still a North Carolina trailer park scumbag who's looking for Northeastern approval and probably his father's approval. If you want to get to the psychology of it all, and his father running the Northeast is why it's important for him to be the man in the Northeast, but really he's a Southern trailer park carny, at the end of the day. And then once they did that, WWE Goes Hollywood, which were great sketches with the Braveheart and all that kind of stuff. That was the time. That was kind of that window you're talking about. And Vince, again, wanting to be accepted so much into the Hollywood power. I just need these people's acknowledge me that I am. You are my tribal chief. That he needs that so much that it was like, well, watch what I have. I'm going to hire all of these people too. They're doing great numbers. We're going to hire Big Brother. We're going to hire this person. We're going to hire that and the other. And then you got Patrice O'Neal on staff, and Patrice likes wrestling, and God rest his soul, one of the greatest comedians of all time, in my opinion. But Patrice O'Neal don't know fuck all about wrestling and how to put heat on a heel and get somebody over, and the Tennessee two-step or anything. He just don't know. I mean, I listen to Patrice O'Neal now all day, but it's those type of things that he just wanted to look a certain way. I've got 28 writers on staff, because that's what they have on Big Brother or reality show. So that's WWE marking out for Hollywood to show them that we can be one of you, even though they don't want to be. And instead of going to what they needed to do and letting the guys write the show who they have there as agents or whatever, just keeping it simple with heat and on the heels, and baby faces get made off of that, because you can't pay off one without the other. And now we have baby faces getting heel heat on the heels. So what does your heel mean? That's nothing. So now nobody has a chance to get over whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me that the evidence is there of how to do it right. If you just look at previous footage,
everything old is new again. It's all been done before, and that's what we love as human beings. We act like we're so advanced because of our technology in the last 100 years, but encoded in your DNA is the sit around the campfire story. And there'll always be a love story, there'll always be a power story, there'll always be a brother turning on brother story, there'll always be a David and Goliath story. These tropes go through Shakespeare, they go through Sophocles, they go through anything you want, Mark Twain. Why are you not playing to human DNA? Why do you think you can change it and that you're going to be successful doing that? And not only have they not been successful, they've been horrible at it the last 6 years as they've watched their numbers go from 3.5 down to 1.5. But they just keep pressing on that accelerator, and they keep fucking cashing in stocks right before the quarterly earning comes out. And that's an SEC violation that they could all go to jail for. They think they're over because they did whatever CIA propaganda piece it is, where they're working with them to go to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and cash in huge there as well. So they went from being the owners of the Carney Act to now having masters, USA, Fox, the Saudis. And now they have to lie to Fox and USA every week about, why are ratings down? Oh, it's because football's back. Oh, it's because of it's because of COVID. Oh, it's like, no, the bottom line is because you guys are out of touch, egomaniac, narcissist psychopaths who are hell-bent on doing heat payoffs and putting Lana through a table 4 times week to week to week to make yourself pop in gorilla position because you hate Rusev for what he's done.
Yeah.
And that's more important to you than giving your audience the top level of entertainment. Well, guess what? Your audience knows all that, and it's not like you're getting over on anybody. So they're just going, what are these old out of touch pricks doing every week on my TV? Why are they not giving me good content that I get from Amazon Prime, HBO, and Netflix? They just refuse to drop their ego and do the right business and hire the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And people give WCW Thunder from back in the day a hard time, but WCW Thunder did better ratings than anything that's going on today. And I just had an argument with someone in the last 24 hours online. I've got to stop doing it because there's a lot of dumb wrestling fans out there. And, I'm a mark, but I admit it, but I know that there are just so many dumb marks out there that just,
well, that's the thing. There's some people I usually don't sell, but there's some people inside my house. I got into it the other day with one of my guys who should know better because they're a little more smartened up than anybody. But people make dumb, stupid decisions online, myself included. But there's some people, when you say marks, like I just can't even slow down to like acknowledge them because the knowledge difference in what I've done to pay my dues and learn from the masters to sit and trying to have an argument with somebody who played a video game with Congo Kong. And now they think they're over with me. They're more over than me because they paid $20 for Kong to play Madden with them or something that they can talk to me on a one-to-one level. And I'm just a human at the end of the day. I'm not trying to say I'm above anybody else. But if you're going to come at me like you're in the locker room and like, bro, your match sucked and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when you haven't paid due one, and I've been in the trenches for 20 years nonstop, really 32 years if you want to talk about my whole performance career. But like, there's no way I'm slowing down. All I'm going to do is kick you in the face one time and keep walking because your opinion is worthless to me. And it also shows that you don't know how to shut the fuck up and stay small, which is lesson one in the locker room, because the second you try and puff your chest out and cock strut around, you're just putting a huge target on yourself from the guys who really know how to do it. And you're not going to get any of their respect that way, dude. You really are. The only reason I talk like this now is because I put that time in, because I've been fucked over 58 ways to Sunday. And because I have influence on the industry, because we're the black market of creative at Hamin Media Group and Russo Brand. We're consulting constantly with talents who reach out to us because the creative at the TV is so bad. And that's a shoot. I'm not going to name names. That's every fed. That's all your top feds, bro. So don't continue to not hire us, continue to not pay me. I'll be the pirate until you guys get to oblivion at 65, 70 miles an hour. And then the solution will be there. But until they hang themselves, there is no way to stop this. There is no way to stop the Titanic from sinking. They've taken on too much water at this point.
Yeah. And just the point I wanted to make before was just like, people hang so much shit on WCW and stuff, but it's just like, it really wasn't that bad in comparison to what I've seen in the last few years. But I wanted to move on to the next part, which was character development / wasting the prime of a career. There have been many guys whose primes of their career have been Dolph Ziggler's first ever singles match at WrestleMania was this year. That's insane to me that a guy that talented could never have a program going into a WrestleMania that was meaningful to his character, to his story, and his everything that the Dolph Ziggler character has gone through. For that character to have never had something meaningful going in to something as big as a WrestleMania. Yet there's all these other guys over the years, and I want to bring up the Dudley Boys as an example. They're a team that obviously were proven to draw a bit of money for them. Once a feud ended, another feud began. There was always another story around the corner. Nowadays, that just doesn't seem to happen with a lot of people. What do you think happened to, and I'm sure we're going to rehash what we talked about with creative, but what do you think happened to character development, people going from one feud to another? Why did that disappear? Is there too much red tape in the creative process?
Yes and no. There's a couple answers to this, and we can throw in Damian Sandow, Ryback, obviously Ziggler. Like Ziggler is, the rebirth of Mr. Perfect, that Perfect's kid. They didn't even try and do with Axel, Same with IRS, Bo Dallas. You can go right down the list.
Barrett. I mean, there's just
all the guys that came up with an OVW pretty much, and now finally Drew's on top where he should be. But
endless people that just they could have given so much more, but were never given the fucking content necessary to do something interesting and sink their teeth into something fucking exciting.
Yeah, there's two reasons.
Back in the day, everyone always had it all the time.
So let's take Damian Sandow, right? And here's a guy who wins Money in the Bank, can get himself over at the top of the ramp with a promo, the savior of the masses, the promos there, the music's different, all character work. Even when he goes to Impact, does Liberace, gets that over, goes to NWA, does Monrovian karate, gets that over. And the guy's a blue chip athlete. He's 6'6", 260 and built and looks great.
There's not many that big anymore,
Yeah, but still can't get the right creative to get him over. Why? Because with the little things they give him that they think are going to be a rib, he goes, okay. And then he goes out and shows you that I can take anything and get it over. And the worst thing that you can do to end your push is do something that they think isn't going to get over, or it be your thing and get it over. Nothing makes them want to stop you cold more than that. So that's one thing. Don't you dare get yourself over on any other shit. And guys who do that, they are fucked. Then the other part of that is we're writing the show on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Yeah. So how do you expect to do long-term business where I'm going to do a feeder program where maybe it's a stepping stone to get the Dudleys up to that top level to face Edge and Christian? Well, who do they have to go through? Maybe there's a mini feud with the Hardy Boys or what have you underneath, and then they would transition. All of that is planned out in a 3-month, long storyline. Here we're showing up, look, Vince, let me see that script. Oh, goddamn Sunday. And then it's thrown out and we're rewriting promos on the fly and you can feel it. So how are you supposed to do any long-term business while they're just showing up that afternoon? And then your performers who thought they were doing something or might've had some grasp on it are getting all new pages of over scripted shit. That's the third part. You're going to read this word for word. You're going to say coward. You're going to say, what did Retribution say? Insects, the locust, we are the locusts, and a plague is coming to get. Dude, what 20-year-olds talk about locusts and the plague or call anybody a fucking coward? Nobody. No. Go watch the Keith Lee Braun Strowman promo that they did on WWE. So bad. Braun, he had the gall to come down and face me, and that's why I respect him. And Keith Lee, if it's a monster you want, then it's a monster you shall have. Like, bro, the most brutal amateur acting, the most brutal out of touch writing from 60 and 70-year-olds who think this is, I don't even know what they're writing for, to be honest with you. Like, I can't even put it adjacent to anything. And then ready, go. And what do you think your audience is going to do? How can you make black guys not cool? I don't know, but WWE has found a way to do it, bro. They can take the coolest black guys and make them total shit bags that I don't care about whatsoever.
It's so true, man. Like, they're the coolest people on the fucking planet, and they've never made any of them cool.
Not one of them, dude. How do they not see that? Here's the perfect example. Bobby Lashley, you left for Impact and got yourself over. You got yourself over in Bellator. You look like a fucking $1 million. Yeah. But guess what? You're coming back. And you're going to do Sami Zayn's obstacle course. You're going to do Rockin' Robin. You're going to do transgender black men as your sisters as a punishment. Instead of going, dude, Bobby Lashley's coming back. You know what we need to do out of the gate to get him up at the top? We
what everyone was wanting? Everyone was wanting to see him with Brock
Lesnar. Brock, why the fuck would you? And that shows you 100% in case study why. Like, if it was USA Network or Fox Network, I would say we're suspending all payment until you start booking the right way. Whatever you're doing, Rockin' Robin with Bobby Lashley, you're lucky you're not being sued by NAACP, like all type of different things. They're lucky that the Black Lives Matter movement didn't go to Stanford and fucking light that building on fire, because they have on tape almost every reason to go and do that type of shit. Like, it's just absolutely brutal. And you go right down the line if you want to talk about, I mean, I play ethnic stereotype, of mine is to hit you in the face with 9/11 truth and tell you the things you don't want to hear, and the conspiracy side. When they do ethnic stereotype now, it's, it ends up Japanese. And Asuka's out there screaming in Japanese, or Tozawa's a ninja. Dude, how are Asian Americans feeling about the way they're portrayed on there? It's not just the Black Lives stuff, dude. And then it's also the marketing bullshit of the women's evolution, which was nothing more than a global, like, let's jump on these social trends. And right now we're back to Steph having her tits out, back to Mandy Rose, full thighs, which, hey, I'm all right with all of that. I hate all the PC shit, bro. It's sex sells, tits and ass sells, bro. So why would we go away from this inner DNA, this primate, this sitting around the campfire telling these stories that have been through all of time? Man wants woman. Man doesn't want oh, you know what? I'm going to wake up and be woke now because the AEW told me to about Sonny Kiss and Nyla Rose. I'm going to change the sexuality that's been inside of me all the time. It's a complete recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I agree. And before I get to my last question about this certain section, I want to say this about Sonny Kiss, okay? I'm a heterosexual male. I understand that he's homosexual, and that's fine.
Sure.
What I don't understand is you're a wrestler. Why do you have to come out posing like you're Nikki Bella, doing the splits on? I'm a wrestling. You're supposed to be you better fight someone. You better fucking fight someone. I don't want to. Why would you be posing and putting your hand in the air and splits across the ropes with your crotch hanging out? What wrestling fan really wants to see that? I know.
Well, let's go back. You said you're a heterosexual male, but you were questioning your own sexuality looking at Sonny's ass. That's what you were trying to preface it with, and you don't want to get there. That's the problem, because they're making you feel that way. And I don't have too much of a problem with that, because my mentor, the hustler Rip Rogers, worked the queer gimmick. Adrian Adonis, we can go to Billy and Chuck, which was a little bit too that's Vince's version, but what's his name? Right around that time too, from OVW, and Rico. Yeah. Thank you. So the gay gimmick has been there, and now in AEW in 2020, they're trying to blur the lines. And I did a show with Sonny Kiss, and I'm a heterosexual male too, or so I think, with 432 wives. But when Sonny Kiss is walking around the locker room in those panty shorts, and look, and you're like, because he is very effeminate and very female, and you look and there's an ass sitting out, and you're like, damn, Sonny got a nice ass. You're like, wait, hold on a minute. No, they're like, you're trying to blur the lines in my head, which is a great part of the work. I love that. Here's what I can't really endorse, and I don't want to say endorse, because it's probably who he or whatever he wants to pronoun is, and I think Sonny's cool with it, because that's the gimmick that he or she's working on any given Sunday. But after the match, it was backstage. It was like, I don't even know if I was, but it was like a constant flame out, and like, oh my God, girl. And like all that stuff, like really playing up the gay stereotype. I came up as a theater kid, so I've seen every stereotype in the gay rainbow, of effeminate heterosexual to very butch lesbian to transgender to closet big football player to, like I've seen the gambit of it. And, with Sonny, I feel kind of bad for him, because I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. It's like they can't turn it off backstage. Like, it always got to be on. Like, that'd be like me coming back from a match and be like, yes, infidels, everyone bow before me in the locker room. Hear me now. You know what I mean? In the locker rooms, be like, what the fuck, bro? But in this SJW world, we get, girlfriend, that was the best, and And I'm like, dude, you don't have to keep that kind of, it's got to be exhausting, I think, to have to do that. But
I mean, just for me, I just think it's okay that he's gay, but he could be an ass kicker. He could be, I'm gay, but I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. Like, why does that have to be the focus? Why can't it just be he just happens to be gay?
They just haven't. I mean, Sonny Kiss is pretty green. Hasn't been around that long, and AEW isn't. The person who's running that doesn't know really how to book any archetypes either, right? So Sonny's just going with what worked on the indies, like a lot of people there are, and nobody's got Sonny Kisses. Like, in the beginning, it was cute with their little AEW fans, SJW, as an affirmative action hire to go, look, we're woke. And it's not like Sonny can't work, completely athletic. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And the match I saw on the indies was versus another transgender. And it was probably the best match on the show, because they didn't work hardly any of the gay gimmicks. They just went and worked back and forth. So that was a very interesting match where I was like, dude, what? And the dude who he worked, who now dresses like a woman, was one of the best like coaches and workers in Rochester. So I'm sitting backstage. Here's the Ayatollah in full gimmick, watching two transgenders tear it down in an old school Memphis style Jerry Lawler wrestling match that made perfect sense, and neither of them were working the queer gimmick like how the queer gimmick should be worked. So the crowd's chanting "faggot" back at them. Instead, they're just wrestling like it's fucking Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler, man. And the match was great, but I'm like, this is the most and Trent Brett is standing right next to me. I go, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever fucking been a part of. Dude. But a great match and a good person. I just hope that they're happy, in the choices that they're making, because they are being exploited to some degree. Let's for a reason, and it might be good.
And I get it. And now that you've mentioned that, and I will get to the final question of that section in a second, but I want to mention Darren Young. Because
did you look up Sonny Kiss on Grindr? That's what 55 Live wants to know. Are you did you download Grindr, and were you looking for something?
No, I did not. But I remember there was a period of time where Stephanie McMahon was tweeting about Darren Young and how he's not a homosexual character yet. We haven't thought about.
Oh my God!
And dude. I'm like, and I was tweeting at Darren, and I was tweeting at her, and I'm like, he already is a homosexual character. He's himself. You have not told us anything about him other than the fact he is Darren Young and he is who he is. Yeah. So he's already a homosexual character.
What a tragedy!
To be a wrestler. That's all it is. He doesn't need any other element added to it. He already is what he is, and he's wrestling. He is a homosexual character.
It doesn't need to be like that. Could have been the very first time. What a massive crossover audience and money shot. Well, I don't want to do pun, but money that they missed there, because this could have been the first time that you don't need to do over the top drag queen. You don't need to do super effeminate. You don't need to take a straight guy and make him gay, which Vince thinks is one of the most fucking hilarious things ever.
Of course he does. He's a child.
He's got a lot of sexual dysfunction. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's inappropriately touching his own daughter or whatever it is, it's very Biden-esque. But Darren Young, the guy looks identical to John Cena, except about 3 shades lighter. He's not super black, so not that that's a problem. He's right in the middle, so he would cross over to white America, black America, Latinos, all would be behind it. And in the fact that all you have to do is show him being a competitive blue chip athlete, working baby face matches, no gay spots. And then at the end, if you really want to push it, he has a boyfriend that's just outside of the business, and you show them, like, congratulate. He goes back and his boyfriend says, good job, gives him a kiss. That's it, bro. That it doesn't need to be some big homoerotic feather boa fucking leather daddy shit. And the fact that they came that close to it. And then again, this is the same as the Me Too movement, speaking out movement, why they jumped on the pussy hat stuff for the women's evolution, which is now dead in the water because we've moved on in marketing to Black Lives Matter and Antifa, which is why we have the Hurt Business and Retribution, because that's how we cash in. But before that, Finn Balor, and to be honest with you, being a theater dude, and I'm not trying to, if this gets back to Finn, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but my gaydar goes off, when I with Finn. There's pictures of him and Matt Bloom, like looking like the twink and the bear. He's riding around on the back of his motorcycle together. He's in a sailor costume. He's in like all these old, and then they even did the Baylor for everyone, right? And they had that big opening where they even had the old queers out there. They had the little kids. They had the transgender. They had the lesbian, like all the archetypes. And even with Sonya Deville, we get so close to it, but they didn't pull the trigger. And I'm surprised because every major corporation, I was in New York City, I just told this recently, in Times Square, at that time when that Baylor Club stuff was going on there, M&M store, all gay, whatever. It didn't matter. Whatever big Old Navy, it was all rainbow themed stuff. So it's not that these corporations are woke. It's the fact that it's a trend that they all agree on from Ad Age magazine, and everybody's going to get 18 months of profit out of it trying to cross over into these leather audiences, where wrestling, sexy men in their underwear rolling around on boots wouldn't embrace it. They'd only fly close to it, and where they should have been the flagship of pushing it forward. You know what I mean? Of really doing that. And that when they have the opportunity and the stars align, They still miss. And I do not understand why or how. And then Balor goes and gets married in private. And what happens to him?
That's exactly it. And,
where's Balor now?
Well, I mean,
sent to NXT, and now he's got a broken jaw. So that's the thing. Like, oh, you're gay. We think you're gay, Balor, and he might have tendencies or whatever, but then he didn't want to be the poster boy for that. So he goes and gets married on the sly. Then here comes the punishment. You didn't want, he did what? He got married. We were going to make him gay, but they know he's married now. Yeah. So guess what? He's going to NXT. Boom. It's just like that, bro. It's just like that.
I'm glad we're getting a bit of Vince out tonight. So, okay, now that we've got through that, because, you know, I had to take that sidebar, but I want to ask you, what can be done to fix the creative process in WWE?
Oof, man, I mean, is there a way to do it?
Obviously, Vince has to die.
I don't know. I think Vince could repair his relationship with Vince Russo, and that's not just because I'm on Russo brand and I'm a firm believer of the Attitude Era, and because I co-host with him and do a lot of business with him. I'm not just pushing for that. There's nobody else aside from guys that you don't know about, the management of 2CW, Josh Jenneret and Steve King, myself. Obviously I vouch for Stevie any day of the week, and maybe one or two others from OVW like Dr. Ted and my former writing partner, Adam Revolver, aka Power, that really could go in there and do the work at the high level that we're talking about, which needs to be done. And that's not to disrespect a Dave Marquez or a Tommy Dreamer or anybody like that that's working at Impact or doing their own thing. But if you're talking about a team of guys who aren't worried about having themselves on camera, getting every guy over, creating mini worlds that will eventually intersect and give you those, oh, this is so awesome feelings again, which we can't even get close to that happening at this point. There's about 5 of us that I would say. And, you know, but to that, the Stooge Core has to go. Ace got to go. Bruce got to go. You know, a lot of people got to be taken out of the mix. Really, the whole creative team has to go, because at 5 guys alone, with Stevie and Vince, and I do it alone just for Raw and SmackDown, and my team watches NXT. All 3 of those should be feeding each other, but they're completely disconnected. Why would you get people over in NXT, claim it's a third brand, but now they're Retribution after we've conditioned you that it's Donovan Dijak, Mia Yim? It's that, like, one thing should start there and trickle upwards, not just get them ready and call ourselves a third brand where everybody's used to it. And then over here, you're something completely different. Like, that shows how disconnected they are and everything's compartmentalized. They also have phenomenal producers there, from Jeremy Borash to Jimmy Paradise. A lot of guys who've worked all over the place and are ex-workers and can wear a lot of hats. And you see their video packages they blow you away. They're so good. And then we come back to the arena and the bell rings and everyone's doing whatever the fuck they want. And it's mind-blowingly bad. And how do you have that with Triple H and Shawn Michaels as your agents? Like, I just don't understand how they're mailing it in at this point and upping the bar for no reason whatsoever. To fix it, those guys got to go. And you got to bring in the dudes that are the diehards who haven't missed a day in 30, 40 years of wrestling, who can make the references that your diehard audience is going to get, who know how to make new characters and new stars, who know how to do dream booking, which is crossovers or nostalgia acts coming back, or picking up a detail and making that into something that was dropped. I mean, how many WWE storylines can we say that were dropped that would actually be something? You know what I mean? But those guys and their egos that are there now, they just come up with, that's creative license, and let's just get through the next pay-per-view. We'll fix it later. And then it never gets fixed. That's the excuse for their laziness, for their shitty abilities, for them not reading books, to be like, you know what, I'm going to take from that. You know what, I'm going to take from, let me go back to Charlie Chaplin and Three Stooges. I'm going to take from that. Let me take from Abbott and Costello. Let me take from, you know what your job is? You're going to go watch every Clint Eastwood movie, because we want this guy to be more like Clint Eastwood. And then we can start. Who's doing that? None of them.
No one.
Not a one of them, bro. And, to me, that's what drives me. I think I've watched Sopranos probably 48, 49 times completely through everything, shot for shot, line for line, symbolism, reference to other mob movies. Like, that's the level of dedication I have to this shit. And there's other people aside from me who have that too, but they are not the ones who get the shots. It's the suckholes, the old school boys club that can, with a phone call, worm their way back in because they want to cut somebody else's throat to get in there. It's never about, let me get this kid over and let me show them something in themselves that will give them the belief that they are a great performer and a star. And then we can push them out there and push them forward. Those conversations don't even come close to happening, bro. And that's the problem.
Right. Yeah, that's mind-boggling, but you make fucking load of sense, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, if Vince dies, that's fine, but I'm not in that camp of like Vince has got to die for it to change, because then what? You think Steph and Game and Shane are ready to step in and be like, now we're going to do WWE the right way? Do you see that happening if Vince dies? I absolutely don't. I think Game's the only one I have any faith in, really, because he's the one who's been in there and done it. But, at the end of the day, he's going to do what's best for him instead of getting other guys. I won't say that. Game's a real worker because he came through Kowalski's. He married up. He was in the clique. He knows what throat cutting's all about. He's ruined the careers of a couple of my friends who should have been up there just for the fact of who he was, and he could do it. And that's wrestling. I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire for that. But Game could be a guy who would listen to reason if you gave him the good stuff. I don't see him saying, fuck you, just a power play when it's going to get somebody over, because he's not really in the forefront right now. He is trying to do good business for what it is. And I think he's been marginalized too, right out of the family. He was up there all and that. And I bet he likes it, being at NXT, less pressure, just being able to do that kind of shit, not having to deal with the whole roster of egos just with kids to bring him up. I think he's probably one of the happiest spots he's ever been in, aside from his WrestleMania matches. But I got faith that he knows what the fuck he's doing. But if you're talking high level creative, that HBO level creative, I'll Barry Horowitz myself. You're looking at the guy who can deliver it, along with about 4 or 5 others who I would love to have on a booking committee, because guys can convince me of shit. It happened on the Impact Attack this week. Man Beast came up with a thing. I'm like, dude, about Follow Ba, going from ba, ba, ba to broken English, like where now he speaks, but should he just have like gone to the next level? But now we get more of a roller coaster ride as Follow Ba becomes this bigger character that we get to see, right? So I can be convinced. My opinions aren't always right, and it's not wrong either. There's always multiple choices to go down, multiple roads, but where are they going to lead us? Let's talk them out. And does that business help somebody else's business? How can we intersect those worlds? How can they collide? How should these worlds never collide? Because that business will fuck up that business.
Yeah.
And, like, those conversations cannot happen when you're rewriting the show at 3 p.m. on a Monday. They just can't.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, my friend.
Yeah,
so the next topic I wanted to bring up was commentary. I've had a massive problem with commentary for many years, to the point where I was with every year, me and my friends from high school, we watch WrestleMania. And I don't watch Raw anymore. I don't watch SmackDown anymore, but we always watch the Rumble and WrestleMania. And there were so many times where I was like, man, I can't even watch this because the commentary is so painful and jarring to my ears. I would rather listen to this in a different language.
Yeah.
We used to have some great commentary teams that made you believe what was happening to their eyes was real. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole back in the day, not later on, but back in the day.
Let's not get out of
99, 2000.
Let's not get out of hand. Let's not.
When he commentated, for Mick Foley winning the WWF title, I still believe that then. But
okay,
time wears on. Jim Ross gets put to the side. Jonathan Coachman, not John Grisham. That's the I can't remember the guy's name. That's how important he was.
Michael Cole Light. They're just a cookie cutter with what you're talking about.
As it gets along,
5'8", dark hair.
You don't know who's talking anymore. You got 3 people on the commentary team. Their voices aren't distinct. They talk all over each other. As I was preparing for the James Ellsworth interview, I watched one of his matches with AJ Styles, and there was a false finish, and all 3 people were talking at the same time whilst the pinfall attempt was taking place. And I was like, it's fucking ruins the whole moment because no one is shutting the fuck up for a second, letting one person talk. Where did it start going wrong? Why is it wrong now? And what could be done to fix it?
That's, Michael Cole kind of lowered the bar because he became the puppet. You can hear it. You can hear Vince in his ear. If he was to get close to the mic like that, you would be able to hear through his earpiece Vince's voice. And you can just tell that he's nothing more than a wind-up toy. And then he becomes cliche. And then the little Randy Orton out of nowhere. And like, they just become like, by that time we're dead. We're dead in the water. It's brutal. He does all the steroids, he gets jacked, and then he's back to Doughboy again. Like whatever they want to do with him. He's ruined far more moments and made them far less than what they could have been with someone who would have just taken the earpiece out and been reacting. That's what sure, they're supposed to help tell the story, give facts, give backstory for people tuning in. But around the late 90s and whatnot, Vince and them claiming to be Northeasterners and hating their Southern roots, they just hear Jim Ross says, "Hey man, and I don't know if you know this in Australia, but since even Civil War 1800, Northerners always think they're superior to Southerners, and as soon as we hear that Southern accent, it like you could have an IQ of 160 and be in Mensa. If you hear, "Hey man, how y'all going out there?" Like, boom, you're labeled a Gomer in a Northerner's eyes. And that's what Vince doesn't ever want to be. That's why Cornette hates Russo, but Russo doesn't hate Cornette. And, for that same dude, it's that exists in America, and it always will. So Michael Cole was an easy East Coast, Ken Dow, pull the string and he'll say whatever you want him to say. That didn't come up in wrestling, was a war correspondent and whatnot, and got picked up that way. And he's a stooge, and that's fine. The business needs tons of office stooges. Look what he tried to do with Pat McAfee in Big League at WrestleMania, where McAfee's wearing the tuxedo with shorts, and Cole's trying to be the veteran. You better not let the boss see you. What are you wearing? Like trying to make him feel bad before he's about to go on air and fuck with his head. But Pat McAfee's a man. He tells Cole, "Get the fuck out of here. I'll walk out right now." And Cole's testing him like a wrestling way. And McAfee's like, "Fuck you, you little bitch," and fucking walks away. And then here comes Cole. No, I didn't mean that. Like, dude, that is you think WWE's up here? It's like preschool backstage, bro. So to step on a little cockroach stooge like that, like, it don't mean nothing to me. He's really, I can't think of one match where I go, dude, Michael Cole made this match fucking awesome. It would have sucked without him, or would have been less without him. Like you said, I would rather turn on the fucking Indian team or, Kai and Tai and let them fucking do the thing, because it's just so cliche. And then, at least Corey Graves was in the ring. Samoa Joe, obviously all the credibility there is, but even then they don't let them talk like wrestlers and give a professional opinion. It's more, here's what's in my ear, I'm going to repeat it back. And he's a coward. How about when they were doing this bit, when they were doing "You are my tribal chief," and then all of a sudden, friggin' Reigns would say it, "I'm your tribal chief," and then on commentary, "He's the tribal chief, the head of the table. He's the big dog. You're my tribal chief. Call me your tribal chief. Acknowledge me. The tribal chief wants to," like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
it's Vince McMahon in their ears before production meeting, and we have these lines: coward, head of the table, big dog, and it's just the worst type of operant conditioning to drill that home. Your audience is so insulted when they do that, but these guys sit up on high in their private jet, and they think they are fucking nailing it every week. But all they're really doing is nailing their hand into the cross to be crucified, because they don't get it. And they won't step down to go, you know what? Let's get those 2 CW guys. Let's get Russo back here. I heard they're kicking around. We're thinking about going back to the Attitude Era. You know what that means? That means people are bringing up Vince Russo's name left and right, and he who shall not be named, Attitude. We're going to call him Attitude Era from now on. Like that because of it, dude. And that's Bruce being fearful for his $750,000 paycheck, and and they should be, because they're not delivering. Where you watch Raw and SmackDown review every week on Russo brand, in 2 hours, we can punch up their show more than they can in a full week with 28 writers and have things make way more sense. How is that even humanly possible?
Yeah. What needs to be done to fix the commentary situation?
You got to have one guy who has no earpiece in and is just reacting. You do need a Michael Cole, but not at the level that he's at. Like, you need somebody to toe the line of getting the story over. I want to hear Joe talk about the moves and what it's like when you get dropped on your head, when you get clothesline over the top rope. Because if Graves and him and Cole are saying it, you're not going to believe it, because they don't have the footage to back it up. And Corey Graves can just be the heel and lay out and be on the heel side of commentary and make it agreeable that he agrees with what that person's it is and what they're doing. It's just really getting Vince and them out of their ears and letting them react to what's going on. If Michael Cole, after 20 some odd years in WWE, can't look at the script and have a reaction to tell that story and know where his part is, as opposed to just being a puppet with Vince's hand up his ass, fucking moving his mouth.
Yeah.
We got big problems, bro. We got big problems with that. That is massive control issues that you don't trust your talent at all.
I mean, by that point, he should be able to trust him.
But he can't. And that shows you that they're there just for the paycheck, just the glad hand to me yes men, and not go, hey dudes, let's take a look at this graph where we've lost half of our audience in 4 years. We've lost 1.8 million people.
Yeah.
These are the reasons why that we've gotten from feedback, from all the dirt sheets we've been listening to, from every little thing. Let's change. Here's 20 points that we need to change. Let's take 5 this month and work on those and really work on them and craft our product to be more believable, higher level, less insulting to the intelligence of our fans, and paying tribute to the nostalgia and time that they've put in to want these moments. Let's just start there, and then we'll start working on, let's stop putting Lana through a table as punishment week 5 next week. We'll get to that next week and we'll check our egos then. But like, they won't even start with the basics of what needs to be repaired on the product, because they think they're doing everything right. They think they're nailing it, bro. They absolutely believe it.
Insane. Before I move on to the next thing, I want to say that my biggest pet peeve of Michael Cole is when someone's making their debut and it's, wait a minute, that's wait a minute, that's
like he wouldn't know.
That kills me so much. It's so
how about
painful.
Let's see. I can't wait to see what Retribution is going to do next. You can't wait to see what the terrorist organization who just ran by you with a chainsaw is going to do next. How about if they put a spear through your heart? Is that what you're looking forward to, is seeing what happens next, bro? They don't even run away. A dude ran past them with a chainsaw into the ring and they sat there. You're fucked. I don't know what to tell you. If you can't get that reaction alone, then what are we doing, man? I talk to a lot of people NXT wise too, and my staff does. And there's a bubble, and the fans don't know about this. You heard Vince talk about the bubble, but when you are in it, I've seen guys been in the OVW bubble for 15 years trying to get signed, bro. For not 15, for 10, 12 years, trying to get signed, and nobody knows who they are. And they're probably some of the best workers, writers, promo people in the world of wrestling, in my opinion. They might not have all the size, but they've got all the knowledge and ability. But they're in this wrestling bubble, and they won't come out and talk like this on air and make themselves a property or bury themselves because they want to play this game. WWE bubble is the same way. I talked to, I won't say ex-NXT coach Plenty, and to hear oh, you think I should do that? Well, when we were there, we couldn't even do this, that, or the other. They are so in the bubble that they are conditioned once they leave to go to the indies to not do things that will get them over, because that would have got them heat in WWE.
Right.
And it's not because it's a bad thing to do. It's just that Vince doesn't want anybody looking at the camera. He doesn't want this, that, or the other. So you're thinking about all these things and you're out of your performance. And it's if I did this, I'm going to be punished. And I'm instead of, dude, I'm in the ring. This is my time. I know right where the fuck I'm supposed to be. I know who my character is, and nobody here can tell me anything. I'll go to the back and ask Shawn Michaels in game, how was that? And if they told me, oh, the Garvin stomp was good, but you could have done a little bit more character in between each stomp, I'll take that note and apply it. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I looked at the camera. Dude, after the end of my match, when I camel clutch you and throw you down, I'm going to look right in the camera and go, that's for you infidels. And don't think I won't do the same. Like, you know what I mean? Don't tell me if I have a moment like that, what I can and can't do as a performer. Because if I don't do that, now I look like every other asshole who's in the other 6 matches who are doing the same finish. Oh, kick out. Look at the camera. Oh, I can't believe I didn't beat him. Hit the mat. Get up. Go for your finish. Reverse. Up he goes. And then we come into it. It's just like the same bullshit. You want to go to the circus and watch the high wire act 15 times in a row? No, you want to watch the high wire act. You want to watch the lion. You want to watch the strongman. You want to watch the bear on the fucking bicycle. Instead, everybody dives. Everybody has to cut a promo. Everybody has to hit my music and do a run-in. Like, so what? You went out to the production truck and coordinated your run-in with Kevin Dunn to be a surprise so you could get just
exactly.
Nothing real. And that is what living. The worst one is I'm going to come in, beat the fuck out of you, hit you with a chair, Bailey, and then I'm going to run to the top of the ramp. You stay in the ring 40 feet away from me and don't pursue. You just go, how dare you?
Yeah.
There's nothing but air and opportunity in that 40 feet. If you just fuck me up or my friend up, I'm coming after you. You better be headed for your car, and it better be running, because if you get there and the door's not closed, I'm going to rip you out of it and beat the shit out of you. And why not show us that? Why not show us there is no invisible force field, but these are the WWE bubble rules that make zero sense, that insult your audience and your performer's intelligence. And then your commentary team has to put it over like it's normal when everybody looks like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So everybody's mea culpa in not standing up for it. And why wouldn't a Drew McIntyre or somebody else who's done that same spot, air an opportunity, 40 feet between you, go to the back, or even before, go, dude, I'm not standing there like an idiot. I'm going to chase him out to his car. Where are they going to go? No, you're not. You're going to stand there. Well, I'm going to, but guess what? You're all stupid, because that's fucking dumb. And whatnot. Who's going to tell Drew, fuck you, after he's champ on that? They might take the belt off him, but at least they learned a lesson that day. Would you rather come back and not be champ and be able to do good creative, because belts are just props? Or do you want to play this game and yes, sir, and I'm the champ and I get to do all this stuff, but meanwhile, it all looks like trash? I'd way rather stand up for my business, take the chance of getting fired, and do something that means something that'll stand out from everybody else's little wind-up toy bullshit, bro.
Yeah, preaching to the choir, bro. I completely jive with what you're saying. I need a 30-second break to go to the toilet.
Yeah, man, go get it done.
I'll be back in a minute. We'll edit this bit out.
Why? Leave it in here. Fuck it.
well, while I'm gone, tell everyone about the $5 face slap.
Oh, yeah, man. $5 face slaps. If you don't know and you're down under, maybe I'll come down there. I'm not sure what the exchange rate is, but be happy to give you guys one. For those who don't know, you can go to my YouTube channel, Ben Hamin, and just type in $5 face slap. I think we're up to 47 real slaps, and then people have paid for digital slaps, which I don't really count. I mean, are we 49? 49 maybe. So as a heel, you really shouldn't go out and do merchandise, but got to make money. And I also like to get my heat. So if I'm on early in the show, I'll usually go do merch. If I'm not, I like to protect my character. If I'm in the semi-main or whatever, I'm not going to go out just to sell a couple t-shirts, whatever. But started as a carnival barker thing where I would just tell people when they're walking by, a fat guy or a bald guy or some of you tape trader masturbators out there, I'd be like, $5, no more jerking off. You'll go out, get a job. You'll run a 5K tomorrow. You'll get a full head of hair, one $5 face slap. Just a little something to dig at them for what you can see appearance wise. And then I'll usually hit on their wives and say that you'll be my wife. What are your skills in the bedroom and in the kitchen? Yes. Tell me now. So Ben Hamin is the ladies' man, and at the same time trying to pull your wife while he's insulting you. So that was the origin of it. And then these, Team Never Touched a Titty Club came up and started testing me and put down $5. So now I slap people across their face in the name of Muhammad. Hopefully, I asked them, what would you like to improve in your life? Because they need that face slap to get out of the blocks. And then I get it on camera. They give me $5 and I slap the shit out of them. So it was really just a carnival barker thing where they started to test me. And then it started to catch fire of the $5 face slap. So and I think a lot of people in this world need one. My dad would go upside my fucking head and he had hands of stone. If you ever been slapped in the face, that big thumping feeling where you can feel your heart and your face gets all blown out. Some of us need that in our lives once in a while to get our shit together. They're doing it for the viral video wise, but maybe we all need a little proverbial $5 face slap every day. Myself included.
I'm hoping at the end of this interview, I can get a COVID-friendly $5 face slap.
Well, it's going to be the COVID clutch from now on. Before I'm going to hook the arms on there, I'm going to lick both of my hands and then put the hooks in. So I make sure I get my spit right into my opponent's mouth, and it'll be a bio attack as well as a submission.
Lovely. The next topic I wanted to bring up, and there's a couple more to go.
Sure.
Tag teams. Tag teams. The tag team thing has gone from what once was, as far as I'm concerned, the last golden era of tag team wrestling, as it pertains to WWE, is that nice little spot we had in 99, 2000 with the Headbangers and Too Cool, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the APA, Al Snow and Steve Blackman. You can just keep naming them. There was at least 10, 11 tag teams, Kai and Tai, over and over again. The Mean Street Posse. How do you feel about them? Fantastic characters, fantastic performers.
Sure.
So many tag teams at one stage. Then as time wore on, tag teams become thrown together guys. And the only teams over the years that really seem to have stuck together for a long period of time are the New Day and the Usos. Everyone else seems to just have their run. Like, let's think about the Basham Brothers. Great little run that they had on SmackDown. Then they have the draft and they split them up. They don't put them on TV and then they get released. Seemed to happen quite a lot. Once again, why did it go bad? Why is it shit now? And what can be done to fix it, Ben?
Very good question. I love tag team wrestling. It's where I started and what Rip Rogers teaches us first, because it's the hardest and most involved point of wrestling to do. Once you can do hot tags, false tags, tell the story the right way, do the draw, the ref draw, a bunch of things that you can't do in regular matches, you'll be able to do those things in a regular match if you need to. So I'm always going to have a soft spot in my heart for tag team wrestling as the best wrestling, as far as I'm concerned, because there's a lot more knowledge involved with it and there's a lot more timing involved with it to do it. And when it's done right, it's one of the most beautiful parts of the performance art, as far as I'm concerned. And all those teams you mentioned, absolutely, I love it. And all those guys were a different flavor in the Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors, weren't they? Yes. And now we get thrown together mixed tags, Ziggler, Rude, Shorty G, whatever. Nothing means nothing, right? Yeah. And those guys know how to wrestle. And meanwhile, here's Rude. Where the fuck is James Storm? Give me beer money.
That's what we want. It's like Lashley and Lesnar. We want the fucking shit. Just give it to us.
Just fucking do it. And they won't. For their own ego reasons.
They didn't come up with it, Ben. Fuck them.
You got it, brother. That and I love the Hart Foundation. I love the Stable Wars, Nation of Domination. Obviously, Pillman and Bulldog and Brett and Owen were phenomenal. All that stuff was great. And it could be patriotic. And we have that with the Hurt Business right now. But they won't pull the trigger on that kind of stuff and really go. They'll let Keith Lee come out with BLM because they won't walk that line of like telling a guy that he can't do it. But Keith Lee's not toting a Black Lives Matter message. He's just got the letters on his back. Give me an updated Nation of Domination Black Panther Party, or not even that. Give me what MVP was originally doing, which was show me the money, Jerry Maguire, where he's taking properties and showing them, look, you don't need to do Rock and Robin, bro. You should be in the main event. Now we're just in some like it was hot there in the beginning when they let MVP just talk and improvise and know what he was doing and they trusted him. And then once it started getting over, control. We need control of this. We got to get it over. MVP's getting over, you guys. We got to get it. It's on. We did it. I came up with this, right? I did it. No. You being an old white man and having control of it is what kills MVP's coolness. And now it's dead in the water. It's complete bullshit. A Raw Underground. It's a underground fighting league like Fight Club, but it's not. And now it's gone 4 weeks on TV, and we're going to have to restart it all over again if possible. And it's shame. When did you see Dana White run into a UFC ring going, oh shit. Never. And that's what we're supposed to believe this is. They could fuck up a wet dream over there, bro. I'm telling you. So when it comes to tag team wrestling, they're not even working towards a hot tag or having guys underneath. The girls are so dangerous. They're so just going through the motions of what they learned in NXT, whether it's the Iconics got better this year, but in the beginning, bro, it was who's going to die in this match. You know what I mean? Every time. And I'm not really too hooked on women's tag wrestling anyway, so it's not really a big thing. But
they never like set the table correctly before that even happened, because there weren't any teams other than the Iconics and other thrown together teams.
And we got TVG stuff with Street Profits and the Vikings. Hottest show on TV, one of the hottest ones, Vikings, right? And instead, they take Warbeard Hansen and his partner off the Indies who were killers. They changed their name 4 times in the first year. They have them fighting ninjas and doing this shit. Dude, go watch the show Vikings. Like, that show's awesome. All those dudes who are real Viking Raiders and would have been killers. Like, why wouldn't they go that hardcore route with them? Instead, it's the Stephanie and Triple H and Shane and his wife are parents and Vince is a grandparent. So we're going to water it all down, bro. Yep, it's all going to a 3rd grade level. And the Street Profits, guess what? You're going to get out there and shuck and jive, boys. You can't be empowered black men in 2020. You have to be the same coonery that we're doing with New Day. And look at New Day. Effeminized to take the black man and make him wear pink and baby blue, Biggie licking the top of a fucking ice cream thing. Like, just a lot of like, what are you doing and why are you doing it, man? Yeah. And they didn't stand up, and they got over, no doubt, for the little kids and whatnot. But dude, if you're a 40-year-old man, is that something that fucking appeals to you? And like, you're like, where is my Powers of Pain? Where is my Legion of Doom? Where is my Demolition? Where is my Hart Foundation? Guys who are tag teams for a decade and show you they had FTR and the Good Brothers. The OC didn't do fuck all with either of them. So the art of tag team wrestling is pretty much dead, except for in WWE. Impact, you got the Deaners doing great fucking stuff there. FTR does good stuff. The Young Bucks, no matter how you feel one way or another, but these are established tag teams that will be together and stand the test of time. WWE isn't even thinking on that level, nor is there anybody on the indies or any place else that they're going to bring up that's an established tag team that's going to get over that way right now. So they are double and triple fucked when it comes to having a solid tag division like it was in that golden era, 87 through 95, really. Even though we went through a lot of shitty stuff in the early 90s, the tag teams are what really held it together, no matter if it was Mosh and Thrasher or whoever else doing a little bit silly gimmick, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, it breaks my heart because tag team wrestling's the can get the crowd into it more than anything else. Instead, now we get shitty 6 matches that are thrown together storylines where these 3 randos will take on a tag team and another babyface, and then we'll get a shitty 10-man to do something. And none of those have any real stakes towards a belt or being the best tag team champions of all time, you know.
And I still think they can draw money. I mean, the Hardy Boys. I mean,
Matt, I don't need to see Matt wrestle anymore, dude. He's so good at character. His body's so beat up.
I meant 1999 Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's proven that if you get behind a tag team that is obviously getting over with the crowd, then you can make some money out of that. So you can keep doing that as, again, rehash shit. You know, take stuff from the past and keep going, and eventually, you know, you can keep tag team wrestling as I can't think of the word, and you know, it's getting late here, so like my brain.
Well, you can keep it as a feature. I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the answer to the solution is you got to take guys in the beginning of NXT, get them together and build them as your tag team to establish, and they're going to the main roster as a tag team.
Don't split them up.
Put Dabba-Kato and whoever, big dude, right? They could have done this with AOP, and they run through NXT, and then they get up there, and then they run it that way. AOP versus FTR could have got over. Really, and AOP would have learned a ton from FTR, and FTR would have been able to protect AOP and cover up their greenness and inconsistencies with good, solid, fundamental wrestling and hot tags, because it would be believable that AOP could cut FTR off from their partner with size and power, and those guys would have to out wrestle them just to get that tag. Boom. Believe me, when it comes in and old boy comes off the top rope with a double clothesline and takes out both of AOP and they're down, hot shot, dude. Everybody's going to be pumped at that time after they worked heat on Dash the whole time and Dawson tags in. But we don't get any of that. And it's simple for AOP to work heat. It's like me and Kong. Tag in, I glom him. Kong comes in, gloms him, beats him up for a second, tags me in. We both grab him, give him a double headbutt. Dude sits on his ass. I stomp him out for 2 seconds, tag Kong back in. Kong runs, gives him the front flip into the corner. Guy's in our corner, right? He's reaching every time. We're not doing anything sexy. We're just big, ugly bastards beating on the technical wrestler. That's all AOP was. They don't got to do nothing sexy, bro. And then once he finally sneaks through Kong's legs and fucking tags, and this is what I plan to do with Cody Deaner and Jake anyway. And then fucking Cody comes in and kills us all. You know, like we're not getting any of that. We're not getting, and AOP would have gotten so much better by learning in ring, doing that kind of stuff. But instead you're with the Messiah, you're back up and then you're fired. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Such a shame. But tag team wrestling.
You want to talk a great tag team that's a shame? My buddy, a good friend of mine, APOC, Rick Victor, the Ascension. Those are 2 guys. There was tons of money. Tons of money right on, bro. Tons.
How can you be such a hot act in one part of the company, then be brought up, be made to do something dumb, and then you're punished for something that was written
night one they
by someone else?
You remember what they had him do night one on the main roster?
Yeah, shit on the Road Warriors and all that.
Why the fuck would you not just put Animal with them and have Animal come out and get them over?
Fucking perfect, right?
Just dumb as dumb can be, bro. Who thought it was going to be and maybe that's them with the years, 2 decades of heat with Legion of Doom. You're going to go out there. People are going to say they look like Legion of Doom. Go out there and shit on Legion of Doom. I hate those fuckers. Like, and then they go out and do what they're told instead of getting the rub night one in a torch pass to fucking put it forward, dude. Nobody is thinking anything, dude. It's that kills me.
All right, the next topic. Look, there are a few more, and we've talked a lot so far. And I hope that you
it's only 11:20 in the morning here for me. You're the one who's up late.
Well, you know what? 11:20 at night's pretty easy going for me. I mean, I'm in the Russo's brand fan group, so I'm used to being up early, dealing with drama. Managers. been managers.
Yeah.
The art of the manager has been
Sure.
dead a long time. And I'm not even going to include Paul Hamin in all of that.
Right.
Because it's the only one that seems to be going today. But
well, Paulie manages guys where he doesn't have to. Paulie's a heel, but he doesn't have to do heel things, so it's kind of fucked.
Yeah, he's just says
Paulie never helps guys with the finish, or anything like that.
He doesn't get involved at all. But at least Paul Bearer fucking got involved. So the last time I remember as a fan, managers meaning anything was Paul Bearer in the Ministry of Darkness, and but he still didn't really cut many promos. After that, I can't fucking really think of anyone that fucking meant anything. But when we're talking about the 80s and we're talking about all those guys, Bobby Heenan and Freddie Blassie, and there's so many,
Jimmy Hart,
the Grand Wizard, it's just fuck, man. Like there were so many guys and so many guys on the roster who couldn't talk, had someone there for them. When did it go wrong? Why is it still going wrong today? And what can be done to fix it?
They wanted to make in that same 2006 era. I remember this because they were worried it was going to hurt me. Because if you go back and watch all my early stuff when I was just training, coming from improv, I was Ben Hamin, the manager of the Insurgency. So management is where I started. So I definitely have watched, and Heenan was one of my all-time favorites. So I've watched every little bit of everybody, and whatever the jump up misdirection spot is, or the payoff, or what have you with the manager, I've studied closely, and it is sad, but I think that's them going, we want to get away from the 80s part of it, and make it like a real competition. If you had an agent or a manager and you're in a boxing match, he's not sitting right there at ringside, or, along those lines. So they convince themselves of that, but really what you're taking away is emotion. And that's the most important thing that we have as performers, is the emotional connection, whether it's an emotion to, this guy won and he's the babyface manager, and Arnold Skolin just raises his hand as a good coach, or it's Bobby Heenan dukes the guy, the gimmick, and he hits him with it. And God damn it, Heenan, he cheated, and all the ref, he cheated. No, he didn't do nothing, building that heat for his guys to the moment where the babyface finally gets his hands on Heenan. Now, in that, there is an argument, and I had this with my guys, because I started to outshine them a little bit because they weren't speaking and people wanted the heat to pay off on me. Well, that takes away from your performers a little bit, and there's a fine line of outshining your performers. The Heenan family, even though made up of the biggest stars in history, was about Heenan, and deservedly so. He's the fucking, in my opinion, he's the greatest sports entertainer in the history of the planet. People might say The Rock, Stone Cold. Bobby Heenan's the fucking best, as far as I'm concerned, dude.
He could do everything.
And I wish there were more. There's a lot of guys who are good managers on the indies and whatnot, who could be good mouthpieces, or bringing back dudes who are legends to impart that wisdom. That's another
I
believable
always thought
thing.
that, man. I always thought there was so many guys that couldn't wrestle anymore, but they still had something to give. They had that microphone skill. Yeah. Like when Edge had retired, I always thought Edge could have been a great fucking manager.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think MVP had the opportunity and they've effed it up. Tully on AEW is there with Spears and with FTR, but he's not really getting the opportunity to do that. They're still speaking, and he's just kind of like the mastermind of, a wrestling veteran mind that's with them. Arn's over there, Jake Roberts too. So AEW is doing that the right way. I think they are.
At least they're like trying to get that art back into wrestling.
Some of the content might not be there, but the idea is there, right? So
at least, yeah.
Right. So we're at least a mile ahead that way. But, it's about putting together somebody who can, help that younger generation, to help them get the win, to make a baby face into a heel whose manager forces them to use the weapon, boom, and they get away with it, and he gets the win that way. Now we have conflict, emotion. We have all heels, or the good feeling babyface coach, Teddy Long. You don't ever look at Teddy Long and was like, fuck this guy, except for when he maybe was managing in WCW, but like these extra personalities on the outside, if a guy's got to be super serious, is nice because that gives him a voice where he doesn't have to break and kill his heat. This guy over here can help add to it and help and pump him up. Paulie does, kind of cookie cutter now, but when it was first with Brock, it seemed way more important. You know what I mean? With him being there. So it does break my heart that there is no personality like a Heenan, but the point is they don't want anybody outshining their performers, but they also don't want their performers to get over on their own. So like, here we are, just another 2 levels below even getting to like ground level to start the ascension. You know what I mean? You're just digging out of a hole every time. And there's so many people. Keith Lee could absolutely use a mouthpiece, bro, because this, whatever he's doing, Captain Kirk, where I have to have a match tonight, I am quite sure I will be victorious. Like, that's got to go.
What with
like,
fucking Ron Simmons? Bring him back.
Weren't they going to do
these fucking dudes?
Weren't they going to do? They kind of teased it with. They had Ron Simmons backstage talking to the Hurt Business dudes, and you thought a new Nation of Domination was going to. Then they had Mark Henry backstage saying something, and I'm thinking to myself, are they going to really? Are they going to really push this Black Lives Matter movement where it's be empowered, young black man, and let's have a message to our young African-American viewers at home of positivity, of working hard, of don't buy into media hype, but watch your back at the same time because the streets are hot right now. We could have done all that in a positive social justice message with Mark Henry and Farouk kind of leading those guys and MVP. But again, just like the Finn Balor gay stuff, they come so close to scratching it and then they back right off when the nostalgia of Nation of Domination is there, combined with the new Black Lives Matter movement. Dude, that is a creative goal. That is a feast for a true creative to like come up with awesome ideas for, and they just won't pull the trigger because they're too.
It would draw me back in. It would draw me back in if there was like a bit of a play on that shit. Like I'd be fuck. Like wrestling
is supposed to parody and echo reality, right? So if everything that we're turning on and we see is the reality that we all have as a shared concept, but then we go away from it, it leaves you like, where I see where they're going, but they're not doing it. So now I feel incomplete. And that's the last thing we want of a feeling of our audience to feel incomplete or confused on an angle. That's exact. We want to draw these stories out and make it clear and concise and shine the light on the business the right way to further the storyline in a weekly episodic fashion where we take you on the roller coaster, or we do an ascension or a descension of a character. But again, they had it written all week long, 3 PM. No, we're not going Black Lives Matter today. We're just going to rewrite Mark Henry. He's going to say, good job, boys. And that'll be it. That's it.
All right. Well, the next subject that I had was babyface champions. I've always felt that they have completely fucked up and they don't know how to book babyface heavyweight champions. They had Austin, who acted like a heel, but he went after the heels. Mm-hmm. Brock was a bit of a prick, to be honest. Even when he was a babyface, he was still a bit of a prick. And that was still popular. But then it got to this era right now where they're babyface champions. And I want to bring up Sheamus. And this isn't about him being a babyface champion, though. It's about him being king of the ring. It's about him being a badass heel. It's about him feuding with John Morrison and kicking his fucking head off every week. All of a sudden, he started getting popular because he was being a fucking badass. Then they turned him babyface, and now he has to be fella and try to be funny all the time. And he can't just continue to be the badass that got him popular. He now has to do this hokey shit. And the same thing happened with Seth Rollins. I thought Seth Rollins, when he was heel champion with the Authority, I thought that was a pretty cool thing. But then he was the babyface champion, pandering to the fans, and it's just so lame to me. It feels like they've never been able to really make the babyface face of the company, champion of the company, cool. What the fuck are they doing wrong with babyface champions?
Show don't tell. It's always smarter to put your belt on a heel, because now I'm the dragon. I am the mythical evil that needs to be beaten. Now you watch me beat 2 or 3 knights and that gets smoked, right? And you're like, wow, this guy's badass and whatnot. And he did it in a heel way. Now we want we need the call for the white knight to come from the next kingdom over, right? And here he comes to do that. But we don't have any big beasts at the top of the mountain. That's the show don't tell that makes a babyface his ascension to overthrow. That's what's important. Once they're on top and have the belt, that's the hardest part, to keep them cool and whatnot. So what do? You don't have them come out there and go, I'm the best, I'm the this, I'm the champ, and I'm the PR guy now. It all has to be situation based, where he has the opportunity to show that he's a good guy based off of how a heel, even as a non-champ, sets up the heat. Hulk Hogan with Macho Man Elizabeth, right? Like, we see Macho doing dirty things. Whatever, he walks off, Hogan has the opportunity to pick her up and look and be emotional and carry Liz to the back, right? That is show don't tell. That's not Hulk Hogan going, Macho Man, brother, why did he can do that later and question him? Why are you doing this right now, laying Liz out here? That's not a good, like, if we just start going into it in an argument of back and forth and I'm this, that, and the other, fuck you, bro. Like, just show me him doing heroic things, making the hard choice, laying down the belt and putting the belt on the line. And when he's forced into a situation for a moral clause versus, being the face of the company, he makes a right choice. That's what makes a baby face, not I'm telling you that I am. Yeah. So to answer your question is, they don't set up premises for show don't tell. They just do tell. Yeah. They just do tell. And it don't work.
It's just like, Drew McIntyre. I had the highest. I mean, obviously the situation we're in right now isn't most ideal because we're not in front of an audience, but I had the highest hopes for him because I really felt like this guy looks like $1 million. This guy could be the babyface champion that we were looking for. We're kind of getting sick of the Roman Reigns thing being recycled and him having his crowning moment again, beating this guy and having the Roman Empire begin again. It was nice to see someone else get their moment. But immediately from day one, I was like, they're not doing it correctly. And I'm worried that they're going to ruin him like they've ruined Seth as babyface champion. As far as I'm concerned, they ruined.
Well, I don't think Seth had the goods. I don't think Seth has the goods in training that he does now. He's coming around. I think the Dominic stuff with Ray has been Seth's best thing I've ever seen him do, and I've shit on a lot of his stuff. But the answer is it's yin and yang to me. There has to be a balance to the Force. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, or whatever you want to say, right? So it's not about Drew coming out with Ric Flair and Sean and being like, remember when we drank beers together, mate? That was it right there. Yeah, we had a lot of road miles together. Like, the crowd at home is going, big fucking deal, bro. Yeah. What is the yin and yang that if he's fighting Randy Orton and Orton takes those guys out, whatever, that was clowny as shit. But like, what can Orton do that is going to incite a situation for Drew to shine or for Orton to go over on Drew in that's going to allow us that, is there something, what does Drew hold close that Orton can get to him on and pluck those heartstrings? We're not getting to any of that kind of stuff. I thought one thing they could have done is gone back where they're trying to make him all virtuous and whatnot, and gone back and talked about Drew's first marriage to, I can't remember her name. She was in WWE briefly too. And she called the cops on him or something. Like, let's get into some reality shit, because that's how Orton would really work it, of like trying to get into his head. You know what I mean? Along those lines. And why not bring Drew's remarried now? Why not bring Drew's ex-wife out if we had non-time of COVID and have her sitting right there at ringside to distract, and he doesn't even need to do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, she walks him down and he has her sit right there, and Drew didn't know she was coming. Now Drew's out of his element a little bit, and he's looking over, waiting that RKO can come out of nowhere. Some show don't tell of why you're here and along those lines, and the real mind games of what could have been. Instead, it's just, go put on night vision and knock out the guys. Oh, it's not night vision. It's a welding helmet, which would have made it darker, but we don't have time for that. God damn it. Regardless, like they're not doing anything to yin and yang, good and evil, in setting up a show don't tell scenario. You can't go out there as a baby face and just say you're bad as fuck. You have to show it.
Understood. The next topic I wanted to bring up was OVW versus NXT. The bringing up of OVW talent, as far as I'm concerned, was way more successful than the way that they bring up NXT talent. There's not a how this went wrong kind of. No, there is actually. How does it go wrong with NXT? But how did it not go wrong with back in the day, 2002-ish? With OVW, why was it successful then? And why is it so unsuccessful now?
You had a lot of less bruisable egos. You had people who have come from the 80s and they remember that shit from the 50s and 60s at their parents' hard knock life, whatever, right? Some value system has changed, but that's not what I want to blame it on. So if Rip is calling you a cunt and a cocksucker and you're a fat, lazy bastard, which you would call me all the time, and you called Randy Orton that too. So I'm in good shape, right? Good company. Me and Orton are neck and neck. But it's those types of things, that Rocky Mickey coaching. If you can't fucking take that and take the pearls of wisdom and apply them, if all you're hearing is you're a stupid fucker, and like you can't go, you know what, I am a stupid fucker and I need to listen and learn. If you're like, how dare he call me that when I'm paying for lessons? If you're that fragile, you shouldn't be in this business. You really shouldn't. You shouldn't be in the entertainment business at all, because you're going to be, and a lot of guys can't hack it, man, on, suicides, pills, whatever. They just aren't built for it. So when it comes to OVW, Danny Davis, Rip Rogers, Al Snow, Robert Gibson, training there, Nick Dinsmore, Matt Capitelli, Joey Mercury. I mean, phenomenal minds I was able to learn from. Then Triple H and Shawn showed up. What was it, 2007, 2008? Triple H goes, OVW will always be a part of WWE. Look at how many people they put here. And then 6 weeks later, the contract was done. That day, Steve Kern came in and took 360-degree pictures of Davis Arena. I knew the writing was on the wall. They open, so Kern and Johnny Ace backstab Danny Davis and them and convince get Triple H and Shawn on their team to convince Vince that they will open FCW. I think it was $250,000, and that they'll be the new feeder that way. And they'll have the inside stooge that they didn't have the power over Danny. That's the thing. So right. Is Kern and Johnny Ace as good a trainer as Rip and Al and Danny? Fuck no. But then they did have Dr. Tom, who is behind Rip, right neck and neck with Rip. You could say they're the best trainers on the planet. And they're letting guys go. They're letting Ethan Page go, Brian Cage go, Eli Drake go. Like, this just shows how fucking stupid they are.
Brian Cage go, really? Fuck. Okay.
Yep. Dumb as fuck. He tagged with Eli Drake and they let him go. So that this, and there's tons more that I can name, but that was the upper echelon of office stooges stabbing each other in the back, trying to get over with WWE and fucking up developmental. They were running these towns in Florida like OVW runs Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio. And this is when you heard Seth and them, they didn't have to know what it was like to be on street team. Like Seth paid his dues going to the fucking whatever backwoods Florida thing, having to hang posters. Like that was the toughest thing Seth had to do. And he still bitches about it.
I've never watched the documentary on that shit.
Oh, brutal. I just wanted to punch him in the throat.
I know it's going to be painful for me to watch.
So, FCW is going to be a failed experiment because it's run by snakes who haven't done this before, where OVW has been established and delivered multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So it's all really, the snakes are biting the snakes, but then at the end of the day, Vince and Triple H probably had a meeting that went something along the lines of, yeah, I don't fucking trust them either, but fuck it. If they want to pay for it and bring it down here to Florida, let's do it. And then if worse comes to worse, we'll just start our own thing off of that. And we got it all in house. That way we don't got to deal with Danny and them. And then these fucking guys, that's the meeting. These are the cold-blooded meetings that go down, bro, all the time. I have them every week myself, of how to snake people out of stuff. And then FCW closes. They can put the heat on Kern. Johnny Ace kisses ass to stay in the office. And then we're off to the races with NXT and going that way. Now it's a whole performance center with Full Sail. I think all that's great stuff. But if you don't have that Rocky level of Mickey Coach and a Rip Rogers telling you that you think you're over, you ain't over. Because now they're going, NXT's the third brand and we're all over. Oh, really? You're over? How much do you make compared to main roster people? Are you still making your $750 a week, or are you making your $7,500 a week with pay-per-view bonuses? So they're lying to them. They're working their workers there. And those workers are kids from the indies who are just happy to have a property of NXT t-shirt on and have Triple H point at them in a goddamn picture. That's enough for them to mark out and then be part of the system. You'll get in line. You'll do this, that, and the other. And there was plenty of that at OVW when, you were going to get called up and guys were getting called up, and the political game was merciless there. Actually, that's what OVW prepares you for more than anything. Sure, you learn the wrestling, you learn the psychology, the humbleness, how to work a crowd, but it was getting you ready to deal with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. The politics at OVW were pretty serious. And it was all guys cutting each other's throats just to get ready to go up there to play that game. It was nothing personal really between that, but that's the crazy level that things operate at, instead of just being a cast, a family, and saying, I'm going to heighten your performance and you're going to heighten mine. And I got your best interest. And that's after WWE left and I got the book at OVW. That's exactly what I implemented. And it was some of the best creative I think that's ever been done there. And it's still some of my and Powers model and Man Beast that I taught them from improv still echoes through that. We were able to change something. So I know if I can crack through the shell of WWE and get to that number 2 spot and implement that, the ripple effect will be felt for decades. If I was able to train wrestlers as professional improvisers for a minimum of 2 years, it takes that long to learn it and how to really be great at it. Then we could get back to 1987. Then we could get back to promos. Then we could get back to announcers who are in the moment and not trying to create something that is forced on your audience, where we'd have a shared experience together, emotional laughter, sadness, hype, anger. But when it's all manufactured and scripted with the words cowards and locusts of destruction, we're fucked. We're fucked in the water, bro, right there.
Absolutely. I completely jive with that.
Dude, I got a kid over. You can go look this up on my YouTube, Ben Hamin. Just type in Lumpy Magoo. I've talked about him before. He was only a student, and we're still looking for him. There's $1,000 ransom on Lumpy Magoo's head. We think he's in Iowa someplace because no one can find him. He was green as could be. He came out with a Pee Wee Herman bow tie on, blonde hair, tall, skinny kid. I have him checkered plaid shirt, pants on, and big red Ronald McDonald boots. And he talked like Mickey Mouse. Hi, you guys. It's me, Lumpy Magoo. I'm here to interview you. And then he'd interview the Indians. He'd interview the Iraqis. He'd interview the black guys. And he'd say the exact wrong thing to them, innocently enough. You know what I mean? And then they'd kill him. They'd kill him in the ring and leave Lumpy laying. I did that for like 6-8 weeks. And then the crowd starts to like Lumpy Magoo. They know the game. They're conditioned to it. They want to, and Lumpy never got any offense on anybody. If he would get a backdrop on somebody, but that's because he had to bend over and tie his shoe, and they'd run at him and he'd stand up and he'd be like, what the hell? And the other guy would run in and he'd turn around and he'd back elbow the guy and he'd go, oh no, I didn't mean to hurt you. And he'd have emotion about it. Now in DCW, you got to be in the main event by selling tickets, right? Because that's how it was, the student show, and we're gradually going up. We got Lumpy Magoo so over that, because when you buy tickets from your favorite star, they get to be in the main event. 120 people are buying tickets from Lumpy. No one else can sell 1-2 tickets at a time. And the minimum was 5 to be on a show. So the creative got that guy so over that the people wanted to see him in the main event doing nothing, and turned him babyface after saying all of, like, you know, the backhanded racist stuff that he shouldn't have said in some cute way. I put him with the black guys, the grape drink connection. Those guys I took right from Popeye. I gave them a gallon of grape drink, sugar water, $1 at the store, right? When they drink it, it's like Popeye. They hulk up and beat the shit out of him. Lumpy drank that shit for the first time. He starts going like Curly from the Three Stooges. He comes in, delivered one slam, scoop slam, first real offense. Boom. That fucking crowd came off their feet, bro, for a student that talks like Mickey Mouse, that looks like Pee Wee Herman, delivering one slam with the cool hood black guys, the most opposite Iowa boy, because we conditioned our audience for 16 weeks leading up to that, because we did long-term business, because we had an idea of where we wanted him to go, and because we saw how our audiences reacted to him. We stayed fluid. Imagine if they would have done any of that with Daniel Bryan. You know, it's unbelievable how their tone deafness kills their creative when you can take a guy who only has to do one slam and you can sell out a fucking house with him. That's the difference between me and them.
Incredible story. Incredible.
Lumpy Magoo, where are you, man? If you know where Lumptista is, we're looking for him, dude. It's been a hunt for Lumpy for like the last 5-10 years. Yeah, dude. He's hard to find. I think he got some little dolly pregnant, and that was it for him in wrestling. But dude, I had Serena become his girlfriend. I put Serena in a shirt with a bow tie. He comes out to the Pink Panther theme. Dun-dun. He just stick his head through the curtain and look side to side. People lose their mind. There's so much we can do to condition our audience. And once you know they like it and they bite on the game, now we got them. How do we play that game out over and over to make them feel like, I don't care who was in the main event in a big belt storyline. When Lumpy came out and did one slam, meant everything, bro. I don't remember anything from the rest of that show. But building up to that moment for 16 weeks, one grape, because I had to get the grape drink world spinning, right? I got to make the audience believe that grape drink is the powerful spinach of Popeye. I got this kid over here and then when I put them together and those worlds combine, what's in the middle of that Venn diagram is Lumpy's first offense off of grape drink. And then they cut the promo afterwards and the black guys are like, yeah, we ain't going out like that. And Lumpy, yeah, we ain't going out like that. You know, like just to echo them. Just to echo the absurd, like it was beautiful stuff and some of my favorite creative that not a lot of people ever know about, man. And it's all stolen.
Yeah, of course. Wow, that's amazing. So I've got 3 more topics left, Ben.
All right, man.
The third last one is stipulations.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, stipulations meant something. It was a feud ender.
Just gave me a shudder.
Hell in a Cell. It was the Elimination Chamber took place at this point in time because we needed to separate these bunch of men to find out who was going to be the champion.
Right.
Now, a Hell in a Cell match will take place just because this feud happened to take place at a point in time where there was a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell. That drives me fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did we go wrong with this shit? Was it Vince being like, we need to brand these pay-per-views after specific matches? Money in the Bank can't just happen because we need to have a Money in the Bank match. It needs to be because there's a pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell match can't happen because there's a feud that needs this match for a feud ender. No, it just so happens to be the time of the year for the Hell in a Cell match. Why has this happened? Please explain. Do you know why the fuck this took place?
Yeah, it was when Bischoff brought in an elimination chamber idea. It made money. It was cool. And then they were like, oh, well, goddamn, the cage makes money. Fuck, the guys in it. Let's just come up with more gimmick cages. So Kali's going to get his own goddamn Punjabi prison, pal. So, you know, we're coming up with these set pieces that are interesting concepts for gimmick matches. But then the stakes of why we have them are no longer important. It's just they're solidified that we're going to, well, I spent fucking $4 million on that goddamn cage. You're goddamn right. We're going to use it. It could be as simple as that. You know what I mean? Like it could be that. So there's a little of that mixed in. When you say stipulations, I'm going to take it a little farther because I don't necessarily look at a match with a gimmick like that as a stipulation. Maybe it is, but it isn't. So here's part one. So let's just go crazy. Just an old cage match. Why do we have a cage match to start with? One of two reasons. And if you don't know them, I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire.
Well, for me, I mean, I would say a cage match is either because there was a situation where people kept running in on matches.
Attaboy. Just to keep people out. That's one. Good job.
Oh man, the second one, all I can think of was like, it's a feud ender. This is where
you got it, man. You're on it. Don't sell
cool,
yourself short.
Awesome, man. I used to wrestle, and I was a weekend warrior, and so I never would consider myself ever being in the business in Perth, Western Australia.
All right,
I got them. I nailed it.
2 for 2.
I just got an A+ from Ben Hamin. Yeah,
that's tough. Because I am
I'm ready to
marketing professor too, so I always lay little traps like that. What are the things? Too many run-ins, or we're blowing off a feud that's a big blood feud.
Yes.
Owen and Brett.
I'm so proud of myself that I
should be, man. Barry Horowitz, that shit yourself. Give yourself one on that. I like that.
And I get the reference because I'm not someone that doesn't understand that, you know. I saw the t-shirt that he used to wear.
It was solid, man. A very, very good gig. So that's not necessarily a stipulation, you know what I mean? So here's a little story that still shakes me to the core. So I don't know if you know who Dick Justice is or not. He was on Impact, but I kind of helped get him to the next level with my heat because he was in 2CW and he does a cop gimmick, fat cop gimmick. He looks right out of Police Academy. He's phenomenal. He's the yin to my yang. I'm a super bad guy. He's an Americanized fat mall cop. And in comedy gold, the guy can deliver 10 out of 10 times with beautiful, even when I'm not in there, he comes up with spots like one guy was going to jump off the fucking, like we see in every indie show, off the top rope to the outside. Dick stops him, whoa, and starts singing, I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. And the whole crowd is singing, I wish you, and then the guy steps down, right? And then they all cheer. So he can do nothing and get it over. And we had great feuds. I kidnapped Jessica Havoc and that got us on Piper's. Yeah, I know. Right? That got us on Piper's Pit. It got us with Duggan. I mean, we've had 6 mans with Duggan. He's tagged with Duggan a bunch because of the business that we do that way. Well, we were doing the 95X rock and roll show this summer. I think X-Pac was on, POD and Tommy Dreamer. And I did a match where if I lost, I had to do the Pledge of Allegiance, U.S. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Yeah.
And I go under and whatnot. And Dreamer is one of my idols in wrestling. I've been lucky to work with him a couple times. But I lose and I start to do it. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. No, I'll never say it. You'll never get me to do it. And then bong, he hits me with the flag or whatever. But we get to the back and Dreamer's sitting there lacing up his boots and he goes, that's not how you do that one, boys. I like shook me out of my fucking boots. I thought we did good. And I was like, oh, fuck. He must have been watching pretty intently. You know what I mean? Because he was pissed about it. And like, he didn't want to look up. So I immediately walk over to him, put my hands behind my back. I go, please, Tommy, let me know where I fucked up. I definitely don't want to do it again. And he stands up, he goes, I know you're a student of the game, you and Ali, which was my, he knows from Australia and worked him there. He goes, He goes, but I'll tell you right now. He goes, I know you're a mark for Paul Heyman. He goes, but Paulie would tell you this right now. He goes, if you set the stipulation, you pay off the stipulation. That's the business. You don't fucking get your shit in and fuck up the stipulation. Dude, my stomach sank, bro. It was, I've never been hit so hard. And I was just like, this guy's my fucking idol. And I just fucked up.
As soon as he said it, you were like, oh my God, I was wrong.
Dude, killed me.
Fuck, man. Yeah.
And that was probably my shot at House of Hardcore too, to be honest with you, which is a double stinger because I really want to work 2300 Arena. There's like a, just to fucking say I did it because I was a huge ECW fan.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I've worked with Dreamer since, and it's been all good, but that is one of those fucking wrestling scars that just filleted me, bro. So let me tell you this, regardless of what it is, you pay off the fucking stipulation. If you're in the cage is used in the finish. You have to fucking get it over, because if you're just getting your own shit in, then the stip didn't mean nothing. And it's not going to give that audience, whether they realize it or not, that feeling of using it, because we've set an expectation and we need to meet that and pay it off. Okay.
Yep.
And that's me throwing myself under the bus right now. I don't know everything, and I still don't. No. But through learning, I guarantee I'll never fuck up another step again, bro. And it was Dreamer was pissed like I get pissed, because he wanted us to succeed. He wanted us to do fucking awesome and get it, and we didn't. And then, without being too much of a, like hard on us and grinding us down, he didn't need to, but he's like that when he goes, that's not how you do that one, and look down, I go, fuck. He was waiting on us, but after that, I think he gained even more respect for me, as I always have for him. And that's something I will take to the fucking grave. You might want to put that on my tombstone, just pay off the stipulation. So y'all guys.
I think the only way to not pay off the stipulation correctly was when Kurt Angle was shaved bald and he had that fucking wig underneath the wrestling hat that he had on.
You didn't like that?
No. I just, if the only way you can, like,
right.
My mom never gives a shit about wrestling, but she found that to be fucking hilarious every week. Him with that stupid wig underneath his wrestling
phenomenal
cap was.
And that's a guy who is at the highest level of believable. And how does he get over the most? Character,
by being a dickhead.
Yeah, that's it.
100%. He got it. Okay, so the next subject, the second last subject, Ben, is the Royal Rumble. Now, I feel like they got it right this year. For the first time in I don't know how many years. But before that, all of my friends, we would sit there, as I told you before, tradition, watching Royal Rumble together. And we would be fucking angry at how it went, especially the one where Reigns won.
Angry at how it went, not because of who won, but how it was booked, right?
Because like Reigns winning when it was like him, Kane, and Big Show at the end. We're like, well, Kane's gonna win? Corporate Kane's gonna fucking win the Rumble right now. Big Show, who's never had a push in fucking 7 or 8 years, is gonna win. No, we already know. And then the Rock's theme hits. Why do you think everyone's fucking booing him? It wasn't just that one though. It was so many Rumbles where they took away the beauty of the legends return to the Rumble by putting an NXT or an NXT UK person in and having Michael Cole being like, it's Pete Dunne. It's Pete Dunne. Like, I'm sure Pete Dunne is fantastic, but me and my friends don't know who he is. Why are you having an orgasm, Michael Cole? I don't know. But I want to see.
I thought the fact that they had that one tag match with Braun Strowman and Nicholas, that would have made it all right for you.
Oh, of course. But like it just got to an era where they removed the legends or the previous people that were in the company making a surprise return to all these NXT and NXT UK people. And they just... Rey Mysterio coming out at number 30 and getting booed. I mean, Rey Mysterio's never been booed in his career. He gets booed because they're all waiting for Daniel Bryan. All of this shit for fucking, I don't know how many years, 5 years. Like every Rumble was shit. They did the last one correctly. Okay. Like I want to omit that from this discussion because it will ruin everything that I'm trying to put up here. But
no, I'm with you.
What happened to the Royal Rumble? Stone Cold Steve Austin has won the Royal. Shawn Michaels is the Rock is that journeyman story of this guy fucking dealing with shit. And he wins the Rumble, and he's got to go to WrestleMania, and he's got to deal with this shit for the next 2 months to get there. What happened to the art, the beauty of winning the Royal Rumble? Fuck, don't get me started on the pointing.
That's it, right? We went corporate, and they thought it worked once, so we're gonna whore it out. You're gonna get out there and point at the sign, and this is the dude we're pushing, and it doesn't matter what. The Royal Rumble is about surprises. It's about overcoming insurmountable odds. It's about having a chance when you might not get a chance any other way. So if you're in the Final Four and it's Zack Ryder, people go, oh shit, Zack Ryder's in the fucking Final Four. He can win this. Are they really going to push him this time? No, we're not going to. But, it's those anticipation things that make it exciting. And right when I got to OVW, I was pretty not disappointed. I don't ever want to say that, but like, one of the first things as I was smarting up to the business and exposed that killed me because Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view, or was. It was about, what do you have to do? You have to throw your guy over the top rope, and the whole thing is a struggle to get the guy to the floor or not be thrown over the top rope. Well, not anymore. It's about Kofi Kingston jumping on a chair. It's about John Morrison doing parkour. Yeah. It's about this feud in the spot and dude, when the worst thing is when guys, they call it staying small. Everyone's fighting, and then they know the spot is coming. You just see them beat each other down, and then they stay on the ropes like this so they can be down, so the camera can focus on this dumb little piece of bullshit business that they think is more important than what the id of the match is, which is to get a shot at Mania.
Yeah.
And we don't need all these spots. I remember Al, because it came down from WWE of how they want to train them. And I think it was one that we had on a big pay-per-view, and Ryback was going over at OVW. Dude, it was Hammer, you're going to eliminate the Ox. You're going to eliminate this. And here's how dude, every elimination's plan. Spots were planned because they're getting those guys ready to go on the road. So I get why Al's just doing his job. We go to Rip Rogers' class, the non-contract guys, and Rip goes, all right, we're all going to fucking get in there and do a battle royal. 20 guys, fucking 30 minutes. You four are the last motherfuckers. Ready? Go. No spots planned out. No nothing. Everything is safe. Big elbows in the corner, big punches, chop, sell away. Oh, here's another guy over there. Oh, he's going to choke him. Da-da-da-da. Everybody's up trying to eliminate dudes. Dudes are trying to keep themselves in. Nobody knows a spot. Nobody knows nothing. You go back and watch that on tape compared to the OVW one. The student one is 10 times better. 10 out of 10 times, bro. Everything looks like a real struggle. Guys are not just falling down. And that's the other thing too. Staying small in a Royal Rumble is absolute idiocy because you got 20 guys in the ring. I tell this to dudes on indie shows all the time if there's a battle royal because they don't know. Do not leave your fucking feet. And that's not like stay strong and look like you're strong in the match. You got 20 guys. If you leave your feet and you're getting back up, a guy can be backing up, step on your Achilles. It's all done. You're done. That's the best chance to get injured because of how many people are in there. So you work safe, you work close, you work tight, do chokes, heat on the face. You show your face, try and get the big fat cocksucker over. Oh, we can't get him over. He's back, double, whatever. He eliminates both of us. No, how do we do it? Like there's so many things that you can do. And it doesn't need to be spot oriented of how will Kofi stay in the ring this time and come up with some ladder spot and shit like that. They've ruined the Royal Rumble with spots. It should all be organic. The guys in there should be good enough workers. And you're right. The NXT thing is bullshit. All that is them going, who should we have in here? We should get Ron Simmons. Yeah, how much does he want? 70 grand? Nah, we can get fucking Pete Dunne. He's already on. He just wants to be. So do you want to save 70 grand or pay Pete Dunne 750 and make him mark out going, guess what you're going to do tonight, Pete? I don't know. Am I on the pre-show? Nah, buddy, you're number 13 in the Rumble. Really? Like, that's how they got him by the balls over there, bro. That's the difference. You're not going to call Farouk and go, hey, dude, you want to be number 13 in the Rumble? How much you pay, man? $750. Damn, no, I ain't doing that. You're gonna pay your 70 grand because that's them having a bunch of marks on their roster. I'm not calling Pete Dunne a mark, but like that's how they got it like that. And they don't give a fuck about their audience to do a Farouk and Bradshaw spot that would cost them $100,000. They'd rather go Street Profit #1 and Pete Dunne, and it don't mean fucking nothing, really.
It's so annoying seeing a tag team member, and he's not going to win. He's not going to win, so there's no point putting both Usos in the fucking Rumble. They're not.
Why wouldn't they at one time had it come down to Ron Simmons and Bradshaw? You know, how awesome would that have been?
Yeah, imagine them having to like fucking duke it out after all these years finally. We never saw it the first time, so
could have had Animal and Warlord.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Animal and Hawk, excuse me. Yeah, I always get them.
Yeah, they removed that amazing moment of a legend just doing it, trying.
That's dream booking. That's dream booking. And 2CW, the indie I worked for in the Northeast, that was kind of the id of what we would do. What legends do we have available? What guys who are ROH guys going to New Japan that can take indie bookings? Who just got future endeavored? And who else can we mix in celebrity wise? When you put that all in a blender, you can come up with some pretty cool shit. And WWE could be doing that every pay-per-view, but it's laziness. And again, rewriting the show at 4 p.m, bro. Just not good along that. But when that did F me up when I had to watch all those guys like take notes of who they're eliminating and shit like that. I was like, oh, you couldn't kill the art form anymore. And the audience sees right through it. It doesn't look like a struggle anymore.
Yeah. But I think the last Royal Rumble with Brock doing his thing.
Believable.
I really enjoy, like, it really felt like it was so legitimate the way that Brock at this point, surely he was exhausted. I mean, he had a lot of hosses fucking come out there and fucking,
he made Keith Lee in one night. Nobody would have given a fuck about it.
And then how do they fucking come back with that? They
got it. How do they done with it?
Dressed like Serena Williams. The last one on the bill tonight, Ben, before we sail off into the sunset, is WrestleMania. WrestleMania, once upon a time, was this spectacle. It was only 3 hours, sometimes maybe 3.5 hours long. Now it's this 7-hour long fucking thing. And I mean, the last one was 2 days, and I hope they don't do that again. And I know that they're considering it from what I've heard Triple H say, but I hope they don't fucking do it. It only needs to be the same length as WrestleMania 17. I mean, how amazing was that pay-per-view? It only needed to be that length, and every match got enough time, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
What happened to WrestleMania? Why is it now this 7 hour? It's exhausting. I had to get my friends to take the day off work because it is at like 9 a.m. in the morning here in Australia, but I got us to start watching it at midday. Everyone has to take the day off work, and by the time we get to the end of it, everyone is exhausted. We feel sick because we've eaten so much junk food. Why does it have to be this long? Why shouldn't it be this long? Tell me what the fuck happened to WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, this is corporatocracy. This is boardroom stuff where the dollars make the sense on this. You know what I mean? It's not about the art and about getting in and out and leaving them wanting more or a big payoff. They, for some reason, in some metric, regardless if the creative isn't as good, the 7 hours makes more money than the 3 hour get in and out does for them. And that dollar amount means more to them than putting on a spectacle that's going to make their audience feel endeared to them, because all you're doing is wearing them out. When was the last time you went to the movie theater and sat through a 7-hour movie? You don't want to. Your ass hurts. Like that. It's just human attention span. So they're not even paying attention to what it really means to like have your audience captivated. It's just everybody's getting out there and everybody's doing something. It doesn't matter how shitty or if there's nobody in the arena. I mean, look at those opening matches. It just makes everything look so bad and clowny, and like you feel bad for like not a Mojo Raleigh, like being out there in front of 16 people in an arena that seats 35,000 because they're all outside still. It's just, I don't know how they can't see themselves. And that is really being inside of the wrestling WWE bubble. OVW's got a bubble. AEW does as well. They all have their own little things where they can convince themselves that this is the right choice, no matter how much everything looking from the outside says that this is the wrong choice. And you can tell them it's the wrong choice. La, la, lo, lo, li, li, la, la. Like they're not going to listen to nothing, bro. Nothing. So they'll continue to do this because it must make some fiscal sense at the end of the day for them to keep doing that and going down that road. Unfortunately, it's at the cost of their diehard fan base, and that fan base is waning every 4 months by about 100,000 people. And if the projection trend stays the same, we'll be at 1 million by 2022 of wrestling viewers, unless something desperate happens. And dude, shows on Fox get canceled that have 6 million viewers.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are you going to justify 1 million viewers with shit creative football, COVID? Like there's only going to be so much of that. And I think we've even passed that point. Like the Fox executives have to sit there and be like, dude, they've made fools of us, but we can't. And then WWE knows that. They're using Fox's own ill will against them of like, Fox can't look bad, so we're gonna keep this experiment going because we'll all look like stupid marks for ourselves if we don't. But that's the end of the road when it all crashes and we go below. What's it gonna take for them to pull the plug on that show?
What is it gonna take? I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me as a fan of when I was a big fan, it was 1998, 99, 2000, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Once the invasion angle was botched, that was strike one. Once the NWO failed in WWE, that was strike two. Once ECW's return took place and it fucked up, that was strike three. And ever since then, I've never watched full time.
Well, I have.
They broke my heart. They broke my heart too many times.
Yeah, man. Well,
and I couldn't do it. And
I wish I could leave the abusive relationship mistress that is wrestling, but I'm just too up to my neck in it, man. Maybe in another, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I'll it's not that I haven't had enough. It's the hope for my friends and people I came up with. We're kind of in the position now to have an influence, to finally be able to do a little bit of right after we've seen so much wrong. And I'm excited for those opportunities, even now after being ground down. But to be in this business full force is to be in the mob. It really is. There's tons of stab your buddy in the back, codes of omerta, heat, and just the way the game's played is not like anything in normal society. And that's why I think the Conspiracy Horsemen and other workers have a leg up on everybody else in podcasting and what it is where we look at things as a worker and we can see it coming a mile away, and the general public doesn't. And that's what makes us different and I don't know, bitter and carny in our own way. But when it comes to WrestleMania, man, I was there at 18 for The Rock and that moment. Being there live, it was like nothing I've ever felt before, of an energy swirling around us. Like you were everybody there was part of something. Yeah. You could feel it drawing you. I've never felt anything like that ever again. And if we're not trying to do everything we can to encapsulate and recreate more moments like that, then that's where the bar is. The Hogan Andre slam, when I lived through that when I was 6 years old, If we're not trying to make those moments, what the fuck are we in this business for? That's where we should be testing ourselves all the time. And how did we get to Rock Hogan? Well, that's 3 years of work in The Rock's character to get him to that level, to make that match happen, to make that stakes believable. There's nobody with any stakes in WWE right now. Actually, I'll take that back. Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, for the first time, we have a blood feud, a comeuppance story, an acknowledgement, big brother, little brother overthrow. We had that with Brett and Owen. We haven't really had anything in so long that it's always been since Stone Cold and he went away. It's been The Boys versus The Office, year 20, 21, 22, like whether it was Punk in them or what have you. The Boys versus The Office just got too much. And we're finally away from that a little bit, but we're still not doing the creative builds that are going to get guys to that WrestleMania 18 Rock Hogan moment. We're not there yet because they're not wanting to make stars that are larger than life that are going to outshine the company. Another part of the bigger bubble of WWE wrestling.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen a crowd react the way that they did when Hogan hulked up.
Just the stare down, bro. The stare down like gave me vertigo. It was drawing everyone in. You could feel it. I don't know how to describe it really. If you were there at 18 in Toronto, you know. And I was there for Trump too in Chicago. You know, that was a pretty magical in a different way. But now with what they've done with the outside arenas and just whoring it out to the X amount, I got to kind of put that on the Bush administration of corporatocracy of America. When everything became corporate everything and it just became that way, WWE met the marketing trend and went in line, and it became about the metrics and the numbers making the dollars, not making the emotion, the connection, and the loyalty with your fans. That became scrapped on the sidelines, and this model became the other way. And you see how hollow it is for emotional void or continuing to keep your audience brand loyal, where they're not going, fuck this, dude, this sucks. Like everything in the 90s was like, dude, that was awesome. And then holy shit, a Crash Holly match was awesome. And then that was awesome. And then Right to Censor, like you were like then here comes Val Venus with the hose and like, you know, like everything. You're lucky if you get one segment like that in 3 hours.
Dude,
why?
Sunday Night Heat was amazing.
Stevie
Even Sunday Night Heat. You'd watch that shit and you'd be popping for every guy that came out because you know what? They were made important on Raw.
Well, here's the thing too, is things like Sunday Night Heat are an opportunity for guys who aren't over, who are great performers, to have a little bit and drop pebbles in the pond. What can we grow on Sunday Night Heat that will transition to the larger show? That's what we should be thinking of. And that's what we should be thinking of in NXT as well. But we don't. They were like, oh, you got over on Heat. Well, you're not getting that shit over on Raw. You know, like a lot of things that when I was writing OVW and we had DCW, well, this is before I started writing OVW, we'd be at the show every week, or I'd be on it and I wasn't writing it, but I would see little details that Al didn't have time to play out in the storyline further, right, for next week, because only so much time. And it wasn't that he was dropping details or anything, but I would go, aha, and we'd write down 3 or 4 details. And guys who were non-contract that were on OVW were also on DCW. We'd take those details and flush them out into their own worlds on the student show. And eventually, because both fan bases are watching both shows, you're giving them the little details and backstory that they didn't even know they wanted, but now they love even more. And the main show stories have an even stronger foundation because we played out those details and gave it real character noise. So the fact that they're so compartmentalized and shows are switching and these teams are doing this and they're doing that with 28 guys, that is the problem, dude. You need a close-knit group where everybody is on the same page and pumping each other's ideas up, and then we go out and we implement them across a 360-degree landscape.
So upsetting to see. Wrestling is just the way that it is now, man.
Yeah, man.
Like the fact that I'm doing a podcast in 2020 and I have not given a fuck about wrestling since maybe 2003 goes to show how much that era means to me, because I still watch it. I'm still watching it. I'm still watching everything that I'd never got the chance to see. Like, I never got to see ECW on TNN. Now I'm watching that shit. Now I'm seeing what's taking place with that. Now I'm watching every episode of WCW Saturday Night from 95 to 2000 when it's all job matches.
That's too much Disco Inferno for me.
Trust me, it's a lot of squash matches, but I want to be able to say that I've seen it all. But for me at this stage to still love wrestling, even though I haven't loved it in 17, 16 years, goes to show how much what took place back then meant to me. So
I think you loved it, but it hasn't loved you. That's the problem, right? Like, they don't want to do anything to say, thank you for your 17 years. Here's some quality creative payoff. And it's also like watching, all-star hitters having to go back and play T-ball. Like, we know that there's so much potential, but there's so many unnecessary roadblocks and drama that derail it all, man. And who's the one that really pays the price for it? We are, and we stay dedicated in this abusive relationship, not getting what we want out of it. And because we have hope that maybe someday the framework will crack and then someone will come in and repair it to fix it the right way. But it's 20 years of this, man. Is there even a way to do it? I think you just got to demolish it and rebuild, bro.
Exactly. I've got all these friends of mine who are a bit younger than me, but they're so positive about what's going on right now, and I feel like I'm the bitter guy, and they think that I'm old and out of touch with everything because I don't like anything that's happening today. But I'm just like, but you don't understand what I used to see. I don't see that anymore, and it doesn't draw me in anymore. I can't fucking like it. I'm sorry. No, trust me. Just give AEW a try. I can't. I don't like it. I don't like any of them. They're all too small. There's no one that entertains me. MJF is great, but no one else really entertains me. I'm not gripped by it. I can't do it, my friend. Try it. No, I can't. Try watching Impact. I just can't. And Impact probably aren't doing anything wrong, but I'm so polluted now that I can't even give anything else a try.
Impact's actually doing the best.
I'm sure they are, but I'm just so polluted now.
But they have the lowest numbers.
Yeah,
they're doing the best quality character work, scene work, references to everybody and punching everybody outside of it. They're the ones with the least amount of bubble and the least amount of ego out of all the feds. But yeah, I think your buddies are fooling themselves. Sure, we all want something new, and I've got plenty of friends in every fed. But if you're going to call yourselves elite and you're going to make mistakes or do things that are just so indie and greenhorn, like you can't hold yourself to that standard, So there are brilliant moments with Y2J and MJF and all that stuff. I totally agree, but I don't want to sit through 2 hours to have to wait through one moment.
This little bit.
It should be the exact opposite. It should be 90%
killer. I've got to be
there
beginning to the end. I've got to see the whole thing. Not Britt Baker talking online saying, "Please watch the girls' matches." Yeah, people are tuning out of the girls' matches. Please watch this. Please.
I watched Sheeta versus Swole, and it was dog shit this week. And the week before, one of my best friends, Serena, gave Big Swole her best match ever with simple wrestling. When you let them go to go do the New Japan, Kenny Omega agented stuff, their footwork's rotten, their strikes are rotten, their thigh slap is rotten, their timing is off, and it's not like I feel any kind of way about the girls, but they don't even know how to do the basics. Or we have baby faces getting heat on heels when they should be fighting from underneath because they were told this 50-50 style. Well, if you're working somebody named Big Swole, guess what? She's stronger than you. because it's her gimmick and in her fucking name. So you shouldn't be working 50-50. You should be working underneath 90% of the match, because you're going to win. You go over with some slick Japanese shit in the last few seconds where she's trying to get her big out power elbow on, but you were doing it and you win. You still fucking won. You don't have to beat up Big Swole, because guess what? Now the tough black chick who's super athletic like a track star can get beat up by the girl who fucking works over at my sushi place. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Like, so they're missing on a lot. I'm very hopeful that Serena can do something where they don't have to put out that Britt Baker statement. I don't know if it was true or not, but it was weird. That kind of mealy mouth thing is not a good look for stars. And that's another part of this. We got a lot of kids in a new generation. And this is where I feel old now. Those damn kids, where they don't use this social media as a weapon and a tool to help their celebrity. It's things like that when you're a monster heel, where you're mealy mouthing to tune in to the fans to not tune out during shitty girls matches. They just signed Eva Lise. I saw the match with her the week before. She puts her hands up like this so Thunder Rosa can hook a full Nelson in behind her. No struggle, whatever. They just know the spot because they go whoop wop this that dude and full Nelson. Dude,
seeing them cooperate with one another when they're supposed to make it, man.
This shit is a struggle. Everything you do is a struggle for dominance.
Yes.
And they're that green. They're that indie-rific that no one has pulled them aside and said, and here's the other thing. I know they're not watching their own tape. They're not going and watching their matches afterwards going, ew, that sucked. I never want to do that again. I'm a mark for myself. I watch all my own shit because my wrestling's rotten. And I fucking go, dude, I'm not doing that again. I look like shit doing that. Not them. They get to the back, high five. That was the fucking best ever. And on to the next one, bro. Not one. How do I correct my footwork? How do I do this, that? This Japanese double slap on the thigh headbutt is the worst thing I've ever seen. It always looks phony as shit. Yeah, dude. And the way to do a headbutt is you grab your opponent by the chin. So there's rhythm. 1, you look around. Am I going to do it? 2, yes, I am. Cock back. 3, deliver. 4. Now that's rhythm that is in there. Wah, 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 wah. Friggin' when you just go headbutt, you go 1, and then it's going to look phony.
And it makes me, as a watcher at home, go, fuck off.
Yep. Me too. Every time.
I saw it. I saw the whole thing.
But nobody, when they get to the back, is going, never do that headbutt again. Let me show you how to do a headbutt to get yourself over.
God damn it. Makes me mad.
It doesn't matter though. You answered the cage question, right? So you're over with me, bro.
Thanks, brother. I do want to interview again at some point. Absolutely. Just to talk about your career. But I want to do the first one just about your thoughts and everything. Because I just knew that this would be so much fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it's 12:30 in the morning right now. And before this, I went to the pub with 2 friends and my gal, and we drank several pints of beer. And I got back at about 9:15 at night, 9:15 in the morning for you. And I was buzzing, and I'm like, I'm going to be talking to Ben Hamin in 45 minutes. I got to get my shit together, and I did, and I've still lasted the test of time. So you know what? I answered those questions well, and I delivered on the interview as well. So I'm proud of myself, Ben.
Yeah, well, we got to put heat on your co-host though, so we'll pass the heat right on to them. Hopefully he's getting his shit in right now.
You know what he said? I don't know who he is. You know why he said that? Because he's like 22 years old.
That's all good, man. A lot of people don't know who I am, and that's not always the worst spot to be in, to be black market creative, because that gives me the cover I need. Would I like to be on your TV making big bucks and whatnot? Yeah, but whenever I work a legend or anything along those lines, it's never, except for when Tommy Dreamer cuts me down. It's I always pretty much deliver on what they expect, and they seem pretty happy. So I don't need the edification of, not to shit on your partner, but 20-year-olds be like, he was never on TV. I can name you 70% of the roster who's on TV right now that I'm 10 times better than. So
I think his point was like, he didn't think he would have anything to add to the conversation because he's young.
Yeah, dude.
And he's getting laid. From a Ruthless Aggression era fan that still watches AEW. So he thought that, man, you just having a little whinge session about current day wrestling was what this show would need. But Ben, I want to end this segment or end this show with this segment called 5-Second Frenzy. 5-Second Frenzy is I ask you about the things that you like, and we get to learn a little bit about you other than what you like about wrestling. So you got 5 seconds to answer each question. Even if you don't last the 5 seconds, it doesn't matter because you can't give me a $5 face slap from where you are. And I can't give one to you. So
I've got sleeper cells all over the place. You never know when Brett Logan might show up just to give you a hot one and run away,
bro. I've been watching Homeland like crazy in the last few weeks. The last 4 days, I've had dreams of being in the CIA. So all I've been 2 nights ago, I punched Donald Trump in the face.
Oh.
Because he was hooking the arm of my girlfriend walking around the White House, and I was like, "Oh, that's not going to happen on my watch." As soon as I punched him, I wake up. Anyway, who is your favorite wrestler?
Well, any heel would say Ben Hamin, but Tommy Dreamer and Bret Hart are 2 guys that I watched everything that they've ever done, man. And coming up, those are 2 of my favorites. Always.
I admit I had a Bret Hart poster on my wall when I was a kid. Your favorite opponent that you've ever had?
I mean, being on Piper's Pit was pretty incredible. He laid me out, but we didn't really have a match. But I got to go. Probably my greatest feud long term was Super Cop Dick Justice. I had a great time there, man.
Dick Justice, right? Your favorite match that you've had?
Probably Mike Mondo's Spirit Squad.
Mike Mondo, really? Awesome.
Yeah, Mondo was my best man in my wedding and one of the greatest wrestling minds I know. Yeah, and he can take anybody's style and get 20-30% more out of them that you didn't even know what you were capable of. He's a true genius in this business, Mike Mondo.
That is a guy that never got his due, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
Your favorite food?
New York pizza. I'm the New York pizza king. Also, I'm a big seafood addict as well. But when I go to the King's Palace, he's got his own steaks. We have steak, lobster. All the chefs. I've always been able to not go hungry, man. So when it comes down to it, though, New York pizza is my ish.
Okay, well, we've had pizza as the answer many times.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, I had lobster.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's my answer too. So, your favorite place to eat on the road?
Favorite place to eat on the road. Usually when we're on the road, we are coming back from Canada or someplace, and there's a chain on the East Coast called Tully's, and they have the best chicken tenders on the planet. Wrestling in Buffalo and whatnot with the buffalo wings and all that. There's a lot of competition, but to me, and referee sideburns, that Tully's stop on the way home is always our favorite.
Right. Sorry, my knee just dislocated.
I dislocated my toe this morning and I had to snap it back in.
My right knee is just dislocated. That's okay. We'll just keep going.
Well, if you're like Orange Cassidy, you'll just no sell it and then go hit your finish at the end on Cody. So
okay, it's back in now. Ignore that. Favorite musical artist, Ben?
Wu-Tang Clan and the Tragically.
Bro. Nice.
Yeah, I'm a massive Wu-Tang guy. I've been on stage with them twice and met a bunch of them at smaller shows when I lived in Chicago. And Tragically Hip is one of the greatest. Unfortunately, Gord Downie died, but they're Canada's Beatles, and I'm a huge fan of them.
Cool, man. Favorite TV show?
The Sopranos.
Man, I've seen it like 3 times through.
Yeah, I've seen it probably 48, 49.
You said 48, but
yeah. So I mean, the performances on every level, all those things. Boardwalk Empire, The Wire. That's where I operate it and try and write everything I do at that highest level, and I'm inspired by those types of shows.
All right, Boardwalk Empire is the next show I'm gonna go after watch Homeland.
I think you'll love it, man.
My friend's been going on about Walking Dead, but I'm like,
horror and zombie stuff isn't usually my bit.
Not mine either. I don't really like the zombie thing. It's been overdone for me. But I think Boardwalk will be the next thing I want to do because it just sounds like it's going to be my thing.
It's phenomenal, man.
Favorite film?
Man, there's a lot in there. I was a Full Metal Jacket junkie, the Young Guns, the 1 and 2. You can go Godfathers, Goodfellas. There's a lot, but really lately I've been hooked on Gangs in New York. Daniel Day-Lewis's performance as the butcher in that, and There Will Be Blood. I'm just trying to look at actors who I think are the pinnacle of where I want to be. After I get out of wrestling, I may go back to acting. No, James Gandolfini didn't even really get noticed or signed till he was 43, 44 years old. And I kind of feel like where your partner might not know me, I think I'm destined for that kind of same 47-year-old is going to be like, where was this guy the whole fucking time?
Yeah, so, no, I can see that, bro. I can definitely see that.
I'm happy to be in the shadow.
You talk so fucking well, man. Like, I don't know how many interviews you had, like at least 20 odd. Straight out of the gate, you're just like, I'm just like sitting here just waiting for you to be done. Like you just kept going and going and going. Like
you're like, shut the fuck up so I can ask my next question, bro.
Like, man, I was very impressed. And these are guys that we interviewed that have been in the wrestling business for however many years, but you sold yourself 10 times more than they ever did. But yeah, cool. Favorite film. That's there's a few there, but and I can see the mafioso shit going on there. Your favorite alcoholic beverage, Ben?
Bourbon. Yeah, man. I've been on a bourbon kick a lot lately. What am I drinking? Blood Oath, which is a pretty high level bourbon, and it's aged in cognac barrels, probably one of the smoothest finishes. But being in Kentucky, that's the bourbon trail right there. Evan Williams is a great little side bourbon, but there's some connoisseurs who know a ton more than I do about it. But I've been making Manhattans at our hunting camp since I was about 8 years old. So I've been handling bottles for a while, man.
Fantastic. Second last one for 5 Second Frenzy is your favorite female body part.
Damn, I like a fat ass, no doubt about that. But when Steph has the gimmicks out on Raw, I don't even know who got drafted. I was just staring straight ahead all the time. So somebody got drafted somewhere, but Steph actually upped the ratings 200,000 based on what she was wearing this week.
Oh, it's nice to know that you and I have the same thing in common with Billy Gunn. So
yeah.
And the last one, Ben, your favorite curse word.
I got to go with cocksucker, even though I don't say it as much. It's always Rip Rogers. Popsy, you fat fucking cocksucker, get in there and do 5 pins and don't throw up. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually trying to swear, be more mindful on camera to swear a little less because I can get on a fuck tear pretty quick, and that can get people to tune out from what you're saying. And to me, it just, I can speak at a higher level, but then I also say, why am I curbing my language? I don't want to censor myself, but if I only want to do it when I'm trying to get a point across that's important. And sometimes I can muddy my own waters that way. So I'm trying to be a better person that way.
Sometimes swearing can take the intelligence out of what you're trying to say.
I agree with that fully. It's just my emotion and passion of being fed up.
Yeah,
more than anything.
But I love when Kevin Nash was talking about the difference between today's locker room and the locker room back in the day. And his impression was of Harley Race with a big fat cigar saying, and I told that cocksucker. That's why the word cocksucker pops me because of just that one quote of him with his.
It's definitely like a old school wrestling, like when it comes.
I told that cocksucker.
Shout out to Harley, man. Rest in peace, dude.
Absolutely. That's a real man right there, man.
Absolutely, bro. And that's one thing we can get to next time is for those who don't know it theater wise, but my dad was a world-class professional lumberjack. So all the competitions and a lot of people from Australia of the shows, my dad runs kind of the WrestleMania of lumberjack competitions.
Wow.
Not this year, for the first time in 40 years. Yeah. 46,000 people over 2 days.
Wow.
Men's and women's. And he was an amateur pro, much like I am. And so I grew up around those real men's men, hard steel fucking hands, bro, handling chainsaws and logs every day.
I've got pianist hands, dude. Like, look at that.
Mine are soft as can be too, being on the keyboard and doing podcasts. But I grew up around those grizzly cocksuckers, so I heard it all and I've seen it all, man. So for Harley racing those guys, that's the cloth I'm cut from, you know, in the original, dude. So mad respect to that whole generation, Killer Kowalski, all those guys, dude. That's the shit I like.
Cool, bro. Well, we will definitely reconvene for a part 2 to talk about your actual career and not worry about this WWE bullshit. But I just like when you talked about Braun Strowman the other day and I heard it, I'm like, my God, again, he makes so much sense. I need to talk to him about what he would do with all the fucking bad shit that's happened in the wrestling business. So I want to thank you for being on board tonight and talking to me for, you know, Jesus, nearly 3 hours. So
it's all good, man. Went by quick. It was a great conversation, dude. I know you're in the brand fan group. You're a big supporter of everything we got going on and this type of synergy and crossover, especially with the diehards that we have in Australia, that we've seen those numbers grow up at Hamin Media Group. I was happy to accept the invitation. So thank you, man.
So before we go, can you please just plug anything and everything that you can?
Oh,
I know you've
yeah.
done it many time ago.
We got a lot of food stuff. If you guys want to check out what we got going on, thebrosters.com, Russo Bro 5-pound coffee bag just in time for the holidays. Some of the best I've ever had, to be honest with you, and people are loving it. So if you want an official Russo Bro bag of coffee, go to thebrosters.com. My platform is completely free. We are going to start a Patreon, but 7 days a week. You can go to Hamin Media Group or Hacker Hamin on your iTunes, or hackerhamin.podbean.com, haminmediagroup.podbean.com. We're on Spotify, whatever it is. One's our main channel. The others are affiliate with spinoff shows from our hosts, but we're covering every wrestling show, Impact, AEW. We have 3 locker room shows a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Stevie Richards is on there, Strangler Steve King, Ted the Man Beast, some great veteran voices, and just everything from Star Wars podcast to the Suck My Balls South Park podcast. So there's tons of entertainment all the time, you guys, going on at Hamin Media Group for free. No reason to go subscribe to these other paid services with guys who have never been in the business, who think that they're experts and that their opinions hold any value whatsoever when they don't. And if you're a Russo's Brand subscriber, russosbrand.com or patreon.com/RussoTWC, and you're checking out Master Shoot Theater, where I do a little, we're gonna write Raw again this week. Screw this script. We have some fun over there, man, and that is paid side. So if you are a paid subscriber, I just want to send a double thanks for that, spending your money on that. But if you really want to support the brand, it's prowrestlingtees.com/BinHamin Infidels, or else bring $5 to your next show and say, I want a 55 live $5 face slap, and I might just give you an extra one for free here, just so Karlifornia Infirri will get his ass up and watch the rest of the shows and be tortured like the rest of us infidels. Yallah.
Thanks, bro. That's fantastic. So before I sign off tonight, Ben, again, I want to say thank you for being with me tonight and having a great conversation. I really had fun. And after I sign off of the podcast, I'd like to give you a personal farewell afterwards. So Don't hang up after we're done. So again, Ben, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
You can catch me at the new show down there, Thunder from Down Under, pal. Yeah, no pants for anybody. I'm going to let it swing this time, pal.
And thank you, Ben. And thank you for everyone that watched the 55 live podcast here in conjunction with the WZWA Network. I am Karlifornia Infirri. Alongside is what I'm trying to say. It's now, 12:41 a.m. So I'm allowed to misspeak. Alongside my friend Ben Hamin. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time when we speak to none other than Damian Slater. Thank you.
Pay off the stipulation, infidels.